That's not what you about to get here. All right, clearly I'm a Batman fan. All right, a Black Panther, even Spider-Man when I go over to the MCU, but you don't see anything Spider-Man up here. So before that, I do want to get started by saying that I did get something. I was inspired by the movie, and I got two things. One I got at the premiere. The other I went out and I bought on my own. So this is what I got. I was so inspired by the movie that I went out and got a Mr. Terrific action figure to add to my collection. And we're going to talk about Mr. Terrific, but I love the yellow and black. Obviously, Go Warriors with the hints of purple. That is my favorite. If you've seen the movie, you know that he's wearing like a red and white. I mean, not red and white. He has the black face mask on, but he has it's like a white and black jacket. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that's super cooler. So hopefully, as we see him in more projects in the future, you know, his costume, his outfit will evolve. But I like that better with the jacket. But either way, he was rocking leather. So shout out to Mr. Terrific. Now, one thing that I did buy from the movie theater the night of the premiere, which was July 11th. So yeah, I went to go see this movie a long time ago. I got this itty bitty Superman. That's what I got. Okay. That's probably like the only real Superman thing I got in my house. And I won't even put it on display. I will, just for the sake of this review. Let's see. I'll put it right here for you. That's it. And then I'll put the little bitty Clark somewhere in a box somewhere in a closet somewhere in the outside shed or something. You know, somewhere safe so nothing happens to him. But this is going to be a spoiler review. If you want my non-spoiler review that I did the day after the premiere, I'll actually put that up for you guys. I'll put a link in here for y'all. I'll put it to the top of the chat. Yo, what up? What up? What up, number one king? How'd you do that? Is that like an emoji or something? How'd you do that? Let's see. I also got a couple shorts up there. So the review that I did it from the car before I went to work. The next day, and it was really fun to kind of talk about that stuff before I went into work. Even though I had to get up dumb early for y'all. I probably don't even appreciate it, but I got up super early just to give y'all a review. But I think that might have been like one of my top lives, because that was a live from the car. So let's see. Yeah, I can't even edit that. So that's just gonna stay up there like that. As people come in, just remind them that that's what I pinned to the top. Okay, Roger's up here pushing buttons and stuff. Yo, just don't push the red button. All right, that's it. Just look, we good with the live. The stream is good. Ain't no glitching, I don't think. I don't know. Hope not. But just don't hit the red button. Yeah, okay. All right. So, like I said, to the top, if you want to watch my non-spoiler review, come back. If you have seen it, if you don't care about it, we're going to talk about this. All right. I let y'all get, go and watch it maybe 2-3 times over. Go watch all these other YouTubers that are going to praise this movie and act like it's the best thing that we've had since 1978 and all of that jazz. But I've been working on some stuff for y'all. All right, and I did my homework. Okay, I went back and I watched all the Christopher Reeve movies. I even went back, started watching Smallville again. I went and watched a little bit of Superman and Lois. I went and watched Superman Returns, that everyone wants to just forget that ever happened. Okay, I mean, I went back to some of the classics for y'all. Look, I did my homework, and I am not a Superman fan. So y'all need to appreciate this, okay? Because you probably will never get this ever again. And even when the Supergirl movie come out, you ain't getting all of this, okay? This is not Superman. This is Super Dad doing this much research for y'all. I even went and did some research on Superman Lives, okay? And if you don't know what that is, we're gonna talk about it, okay? Like, I don't care what everybody else was talking about. They talk about comics and this and that. Look, I don't know none of that, right? All I know for the last 2 weeks is Superman live action TV shows and movies. That's all that's in my head, and I need to get all of that out so I can start talking about Fantastic Four, starting tomorrow. I even got a jump start and started watching the Fantastic Four movies, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about Superman. Okay. Also, shout out to Raj for going through the Midnight Boys instant reaction to the Superman movie. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you my review. I'm going to talk about my favorite Superman characters, and then we're going to talk about this movie. All right. In whatever order it comes to my head, that's what we're going to do. So just if you're here for my review, what did I think about the movie, all of that stuff, as of right now, up to this moment, it's a B. Okay, so if that's what you came for, if you didn't care about none of the other extra hoopla that we're gonna get into this, the deep dive that I don't even need to be diving into, if you just want my review, if you just want to know what my letter grade is, if you want to know what my instant reaction is, my grade was a B. Okay, not a B plus, not a B minus, it's just a B, and then I'll talk about all of that. Now, by the time we get to all of that, all through all of this, it might be a B minus. I don't know yet because I had some other revelations come up, but for right now, it's a B. Okay, if you just want straight cut nitty gritty, go watch my most recent shorts that were from the live that I did in the car, or go watch the other live that's pinned up to the top of the comments, and you guys can enjoy that if that's all you want to know. All the rest of this stuff is going to be a deep dive. So we're gonna be here for a while. So if you need an energy drink, if you need some water, if you need some snacks, I don't care if it's popcorn, chips, bananas, grapes, whatever, dog food. If you that into crypto, go ahead, because this is about to be a minute. I've been working on this for a while, and I know that y'all missed me, so I wanted to give y'all something good. Okay, so we are going to talk about my top Superman characters. We'll start with that first. So these are the live action Superman characters. Now I did this in a PowerPoint, so this might be the second time that I've ever done this. Yeah, so hopefully it comes out the way I want it to. Okay. See, I made it all pretty with the Batman colors and everything. I'm trying to give y'all some stuff. This for y'all. Now my thing glitching. Okay. So as we go through this, you guys can not vote, but you guys can leave in the comments that look better on my screen. But anyway, you guys can leave in the comments who your favorite character, your Superman character is. Okay. I got it. I guess it's not in order, but obviously A, B, C, D, E, and F. All right, right? A, B, C, D. For Reeve is A. Dean Cain from the Lois and Clark Show is B. Tom Welling is C. And Tom Hochland, I don't really know how to say his name. I think that's how you say his name, but that's Superman and Lois, which came out in 2025. He is F. Yes, I know my letters. Okay, so feel free to leave in the comments what your favorite one is, and then we're going to go through mine. All right, so this is going to go from least favorite to favorite. Okay, now, if you guys didn't know, Nicolas Cage was going to be in a Superman. It's not a revival, but in 1997, and I just did this whole I watched a whole documentary on this. So the name of the movie was going to be called Superman Lives, okay, and it was going to be directed by Tim Burton, who did the Batman movies before that. So Batman and the Batman Returns. Okay. So it was going to be basically kind of in that world. So versus Tim Burton Batman. Now, this version of Superman was supposed to be brighter than it was in Batman. It was supposed, but it go watch the documentary about it. Came out like 2015, but Kevin Smith was the first person that wrote it up. The dude that did Clerks and everything, the dude that does all the commentating and all of the stuff on all of our superhero stuff. He wrote the first version of it, and he got kicked off, and then it got kind of like bounced around. But Tim Burton was the main director. Okay. And then everyone was trying to make this into kind of like Tim Burton's kind of idea of what he wanted. There's another producer on there. It was crazy. And you talk about coked out, Raj. Now, the concept of this movie is coked out. All right. So there was supposed to be multiple villains in this movie. So he was going to be fighting Brainiac as the main villain. He was going to be fighting a giant spider. Lex Luthor was going to be in there. And then there was going to be Doomsday was going to be in there. And Doomsday was going to come in and kill Superman. And then he was going to die. And then Superman's alien teddy bear was going to wrap himself around him and bring him back to life. And then he was going to come out in a black Superman suit. The thing was crazy. Watching the documentary, and they were talking about it from concept to kind of up until production, and it was just out of there, and it was gonna be unlike any Superman you've ever seen. And I think it seems to me that they took elements and put that in Man of Steel, but even with that, it was crazier than that. It was gonna be an alien movie that just so happened to have a dude with an S on his chest. Okay. About coked out, the 90s was a wild time, and watching these directors and producers and everybody talk about this, and the writers, they all seemed like they were coked out, yada yada yada. It got canceled because a bunch of movies from the studio had got canceled, had flopped that year, and then got real bad. Okay, now the caveat to this is, if you watch the Flash movie, and I'm not telling you to go watch the Flash movie, but if you go watch the Flash movie that came out a couple years ago with Ezra Miller, there was a cameo scene of Nicolas Cage's Superman in it fighting the giant tarantula. So if you want to actually see what that looks like, all right, and you want to go from what the pictures look like, right, there's a whole bunch of test footage and all of this. If you want to see what kind of conceptually it might have looked like when he was fighting the giant tarantula, go to YouTube and go watch the clip of Nicolas Cage Superman. Get it. All right. Now, again, there was going to be a whole lot of other stuff going on in it, but at least you kind of get that tidbit, and then you can move on with your life, and then you can put them wherever you want. Because of how coked out and crazy like this whole Superman movie sounded, like it seemed like it was all over the place. Marlon Wayans might have been Jimmy Olsen or Chris Rock. Like there was a whole bunch of other stuff. Sandra Bullock was supposed to be Lois Lane. Like it was gonna be crazy. But in fairness, because we never got the whole movie and we can't judge it together, I will put Nicolas Cage on here as a live cameo, and as a live actor, and I'll just put him last on the list. We don't get enough of him. We don't know what he looks like as Clark Kent, but we'll put him on here because he deserves to be on here. It was the movie that we were supposed to get that we never did. Okay. Now, starting my real list from worst to last. Okay. Sorry if it looks like I'm screaming. All right. First up, David Cornsweet. Who is David Cornsweet? David Cornsweet is the new Superman. Okay, he's the new guy. 2025 James Gunn Superman. That's who we're talking about. He's the worst live action Superman, in my opinion. Okay, if you walk out of this movie and he's your savior, great. Okay, I'm not a Superman fan. So my caliber of what makes a good Superman, what makes a good Clark, is probably totally different than yours. I need to be entertained as if I hate this dude's guts. Okay. And for me, David Cornsweet wasn't that good. And it wasn't that he was a terrible actor. I don't like the way that he was written, and he kept getting his ass kicked the whole movie. Again, spoiler alert, we're talking about spoilers even from the beginning. This Superman got his ass kicked the whole movie. And it wasn't like one of those, like, oh, he got his ass kicked, and then by the end, he was doing the ass kicking. He was the least entertaining part of this movie. And it's his movie. All right? In my opinion, I wouldn't even call this a Superman movie. I would say Superman and Friends. Okay? Or another theory, which we'll talk about later, a better version of this is Invincible. Okay? You want to talk about Mark always getting his ass kicked? That's who this character was based off, in my opinion. And there's a lot more with the whole movie in general based off of Invincible. We'll talk about later. But yeah, he was just weak, right? And honestly, like when I talked to my dad, he was like, oh man, like how old do you think he was? Because it tells you how old he is in the beginning of the movie. If this movie was called like Superboy, and then like by the end, like he became Superman or something, he's weak, bro. He's weak. And he got upstaged by everybody else in this movie. And for me, he was the least entertaining, period. So there you go. Now, is he the reason why I rated the movie a B? No. I walked out of the theater and that's how I felt overall, even with the good characters, even with the bad characters. And like I said, we'll talk about that more later, but that didn't help. All right. So Christopher Reeve. Now, I know this is this is like a Superman's like epitome, a Superman fan's epitome of Superman. And I get it. And to be honest, and I went back, okay, and I just watched Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not only that, but I watched the extended cut of Superman 1, and then I watched the Donner cut of Superman 2. Okay? And I dragged myself to watch 3 and 4. I mean, like, this is commitment, okay? Like, back to back. So this ain't like, oh, I watched this 5 years ago, and in my mind, this is what it looks like. This is like a fresh opinion of what this is. My biggest issue is not with Christopher Reeve as Superman. My biggest issue is with him as Clark Kent. And I get it. Like, that's what he was written as. He was supposed to be the complete opposite, so no one would figure out that Clark Kent was Superman and yada, yada, yada. I get all of that. Okay? And I'm not saying that this Christopher Reeve Superman is not the epitome of or the model of what we are supposed to think of Superman as. But he was too goofy. It was too much for, like, oh, Lois, like, oh, I'm in love with you, but you'll never know. And then they get together and they sleep together, and then he kisses her, and then she forgets all about it. So like, we're not even gonna say what that's really called, but you slept with a girl, and then you drugged her with a Superman kiss so that she would forget, and then you guys want to send Cosby to jail. Really? And then you want to bring him back this and say in Superman Returns that that's his baby. So you slept with her, put a baby in her, then kissed her to make her forget, then left her to raise this baby by herself. But that's your Superman, though. The camera's right here. But that's your Superman. That's your favorite Superman, though. Okay. Batman would never. And don't bring up Damien because I don't care. Okay. So moving on. I get it. That's your favorite rapper's rapper. He's not mine. All right. We're going to talk about Brandon Routh, who was in Superman Returns. And like I said, we just talked about how he aped a Lois Lane and then had a baby. But people were people were just mad at this movie because they tried to bring Superman and they were just upset about it. So he's not the worst to me in rewatching it. But I mean, he's not the strongest character. Lex Luthor to me was the best character in Superman Returns. It's not a great movie, but it's not as bad as people say it is. And then we also got a reprisal of Brandon. CW, essentially, it was Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was like a four-part series they did. And he was like kind of like a bitter Superman, and this was fantastic. Like, old and withered. And there is a Superman comic. Man, I forgot what the name of that is. But they're like drawn like super realistic. I don't remember what that is called at all. But I think that's where like the black S on his chest comes from. I really can't think of the name of that. But yeah, this was really dope. And then I think they became friends later on. Now, speaking of that, this Superman that was on the CW started out like Flash was and Supergirl, and then they went and took him and then gave him his own show, which was on like a whole different timeline. So it gets confusing, but this is when everybody was still on the CW at the same time. That was dope to see. It was like the Spider-Man movie No Way Home cameo before Spider-Man. So that's why this was so dope. It was kind of like his redemption. All right, Henry Cavill. So, I have Brandon Routh, but he's not my favorite. Now, that being said, I went and I rewatched Man of Steel, which I probably have not watched since it came out in like 2013 or whatever, 2012, 2013, whatever. Man, I can see why people hate that movie. Like that movie is fundamentally completely different than a Christopher Reeve movie, from a complete different take than a classic Superman, and I can see why people hate that movie. However, even though I still don't like Man of Steel, I think Henry Cavill embodied the role of Superman, especially when they went on and he went in Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, and the Justice League. So I think I'm not just judging Henry Cavill over just Man of Steel. I'm judging him over all of his whole role as Superman in the Snyderverse. And I don't think anybody could have played that kind of type of Superman that we needed that would go against a Ben Affleck Batman. So I think those two as a pair were perfect together in the Snyderverse. And I'm glad that we got the Snyder cut, but I really wish we would have seen them go against Apocalypse. And I don't think that this Superman that we have now is ever going to go that way because it's not tonally dark enough. Never understood the hate on Cavill, bad writing and directing, in my opinion. Okay, so are you only talking about Man of Steel, or are you talking about Henry Cavill as Superman overall? Now, mind you, so this Superman is also after Superman Returns. So Snyder taking this Superman and going in a complete different direction is for a reason. But I also like how eventually they used all the elements that they put in Man of Steel to build out the rest of the universe, like how Apocalypse and them started coming back, Steppenwolf and all of them. You know, how they roped in Wonder Woman, how she got involved, kind of like this gods versus monsters mythology. And I thought he did a phenomenal job setting that up. Raj said, I liked Cavill and Affleck together as well. Yeah, like, I mean, and again, like when it comes to, you can sit there and watch it for what, 4, 5, 6 hours, however long it is, and really a gritty it got. I mean, that Wonder Woman movie, the first one, was so good, in my opinion, like easy rewatchable. Okay. All the other stuff, like the Suicide Squad and all of the extra stuff that they were trying to put in there, didn't necessarily work for me. But trio, I mean, even the Flash when he was in the Snyderverse was pretty good. The Flash movie wasn't that great, but I mean that group that they put together worked for me. Whereas like this new Justice Society or League or whatever you want to call it is just going to be completely different. So, and you know what? That hopped on to Henry Cavill were gym rats and gym bros, right? And Superman, and you know what I mean? Like he became like an icon for a. I don't see this new Superman being an icon. So I don't hate him, but he's also not, kind of like skip the whole like Clark Kent, you know, being in high school, and they just, so, you know, I would have loved to see what his Lana Lang looked like, you know, him dealing with like, you know, football players and not being able to play football and all of this stuff, and like Kansas. Yeah. Also, they kind of like rushed the whole like Superman and but they did that in this movie too, so whatever. Dean Cain. Okay, Superman and Lois. how could I like this Superman better than Henry Cavill? Because to me, I remember this Superman as a kid. Like I remember the TV show coming out and his mom having to sew his suit together and him trying on different outfits. Normal for me. Like that's the first time that I felt like I seen like Superman as a normal person and not like a tortured soul, I guess. I mean, like, and he was so cool as Clark. So it was from the first season, and he came in cool. You know what I mean? He wasn't this stumbling, mumbling, oh, I'm tripping over my shoelaces and oh my glasses are falling off my face. And he wasn't doing all of that. Like he was just Clark, bro. And he was and him and Lois got bit. They got to it together already, getting captured by Lex and all of that stuff. Like, I thought he was really cool. I didn't necessarily know who Dean Cain was before this, but he was cool to me, and like that's the first time that I seen Superman being cool. Now, who he is, who the actor is as a person now, and in the political spectrum and all of that, I don't know. I don't. I know some people like him, some people don't. Some people dislike him more now than they did before. That's not on me. I'm just saying. And Terry, bro. Yo, she had to be like the hottest Lois Lane, bro. Like, there's not a lot of hot Lois Lanes, and she was hot. So I was in it. Never was a fan of the TV show or the actor. Okay, well, Raj, I have two questions for you then. One, what's another project that you've seen Dean Cain in, but and then two, what about him that you don't like? Like I said, I only know him as Superman. I don't know.
Appeared in Beverly Hills 90,210 and hosted Ripley's Believe It or Not. No information.
Well, I wasn't talking to the phone, but the phone decided to try to give me all the info on Dean Cain. So tell me who's really listening. That was scary. So he was on 90210. That was scary. I didn't even ask the phone. And then we talking about AI getting involved. Anyway, and I wouldn't have remembered him from 90210 anyway. My point is if you can tell me something else that he was in that he was memorable in, cool. Like, okay, and speaking of, no, that's not 90210. But I was gonna say Slater from Saved by the Bell. I think he would have probably would have played a cool Superman also, even if it was like a TV kind of version. But I mean, and this dude, he's not like he's not overly buff, but he's strong. Like he looks like he's strong, right? So yeah, and again, I was in it for Lois anyway, so it is what it is. Now, like I said, I went back and I watched a couple episodes of Smallville, and then going back into the. So we finally got like a updated like cameo from Tom Welling, like grown up. That's where this picture comes from. We didn't see him with the. It was like on the farm on the Kent farm, but we did see him put on the S like the last episode of Superman or Smallville, whatever. But for me, even though this wasn't like Superman, this Clark Kent was probably the best developed Clark Kent. Obviously, because it was like, all based on Smallville and him doing all of the Superman stuff. Obviously, they gave him a lot to do in Smallville. But as a character, and talk about like icon, and don't even get me started on the music. Like Tom Welling will always be an iconic Superman even if we didn't see him play Superman. And I mean, he was going against Lex and all these other people. So, either way, like, I'm not going to put him as like number one because we didn't get him fully as Superman, but he's still up there. I have stumbled back in the day after Lois and Clark couldn't get past the first time. Yeah, right. And maybe so. I mean, he's a TV actor. Like, I would never put him on the big screen, but I mean, I think like they held it down for that show. And it was like more dramatic, and it was kind of, like it was kind of like a drama, and I kind of liked drama Superman, believe it or not. And I mean, this is what Smallville was. So to me, like, I think with the drama, you can go, you can delve more into the character, if that makes sense. Not saying that he did any better. And hell, I haven't seen Tom Welling in anything else besides Smallville, but he's so iconic, like he doesn't need to. And then my favorite one is Tyler. Okay, so Tyler is from Superman and Lois, which came out a couple years ago. I think there was like 4 seasons that just ended this year, and that's such a great watch. And the reason I think that I like this Superman so much, one, because yeah, he when you watch, like, he spends so much time as Clark that you can see how people would be like, that's not Superman. Like, that his Clark, he's not goofy, but he's so like normal that, especially as a father, yeah, he's a great Clark. And I think that's the one thing with him, with Superman as a character. You have to have a great Clark and a great Superman. And, he's dealing with work stuff, he's dealing with family stuff, he's dealing with his marriage stuff with him and Lois, he's dealing with raising twin boys, he's dealing with moving back home, he's dealing with Lana all over again, he's dealing with like other family members, and I thought, oh man, and yeah. And did a live watching the finale of this TV show of Superman and Lois a couple months back. So if you're interested in that, hell, and I wouldn't do that for any other Superman. If you're really interested in that, it should still be up there, I think. Yeah, and go watch that. I thought the way that they just handled all of, like, it was like Superman dealing with stuff and he still had to superpower beings, but he still had to like come home and deal with family stuff. And being a super dad, right? Being a super dad, Tyler was definitely a super dad. And I think that's what I appreciated the most out of him. So Christopher Reeve, Dean Cain, Tom Welling, Brandon Routh, Henry going to come to me and be like, oh, so and or what was it? Was it George Reeves and all of these other people? Okay, I'm not going that far back. I'm not watching nothing in black and white for that. I'm not a Superman fan. So if one of those are your favorites, I'm happy for you. But I'm gonna leave this up here. A, Christopher Reeve, B, Dean Cain, C, Tom Welling, D, Brandon Routh, E, Henry Cavill, and F, Tyler. So let me know who your favorite Superman is. And as y'all think about that, I'm going to go get a swig of this water real quick, and I will be right back. Yo, side note, I forgot honorable mention. Yo, Brightburn. Brightburn. Is that better? I think that this Brightburn was his best Superman movie, if you ask me. If you ask me. Also, when you talk about what came first, the chicken or the egg, James Gunn. Wait, Raj, have you never seen Brightburn? Bro, you've never seen Brightburn? Yo, you gotta watch Brightburn. Yo, alright, bro. Alright, so you wanna talk about Homelander? Yo, Homelander is what I wish. Homelander is what Brightburn is what Homelander wish he could be, bro. Like this would be Homelander in the theater watching Brightburn and being like, yo, I need to step my game up. Like, such a great movie, bro. Like, for me as a non-Superman fan, like, that's, yo, Brightburn is everything for me. Like, that's hell, this to me is who Superman should have been fighting. This is who Superman should have been fighting. Why they didn't do now? Listen, there's a lot of things, a lot of theories that I have that would have made this Superman movie better. One, he should have been fighting either Homelander, or he should have been fighting Brightburn, or he should have been fighting Jor-El. Like, those are my three top like villains that Superman should have been fighting instead of all this other BS people he was fighting. This dude right here, Ultraman ain't even smart enough to dare think what he could be. Like, made me want to say some stuff I'm not even supposed to say. Raj said I'll add Brightburn to the list. I still gotta watch the Batman you suggested. Brightburn is a no remorse. Oh yes. Oh yes. And yeah, like Brightburn would twice. And we talking about some despicable stuff that Homelander has. He's a kid. Gotta love it. Now, what I had this whole chicken, what came first, the chicken or the egg thing. So, what I was gonna say is, did James Gunn, where did he get this from? get this from something that he saw on TV, or is this what the Simpsons predicted a long time ago? Yo, you know the Simpsons be on it. When they put a theory together and they put it in their show, you know you're gonna see it one way or another. Was James Gunn doing a nod to the Simpsons, or did the Simpsons just predict it a long time ago? That's for y'all to debate in the comments. All right. So I want to talk about how weak Superman was. The new Superman. Superman was so weak that when I went to the movie theater, I had to. Crazy, ain't it? I was walking out of the movie theater and I saw Superman struggling with the sign because it was so heavy. So I had to go help him pick it up. That's how weak this dude is. All right. If you don't believe me, there's a picture right there for proof. Matter of fact, send it to the Daily Planet and let Lois and Jimmy publish it. All right. To back it up, James Gunn specifically and can be beat. That's what James Gunn said. I walked out of the theater and I had to pick him up, help him pick up the sign. So you know he's weak. That's why he's last on my list, bro. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I think y'all all missed the whole point of the movie. Like, I know you guys get caught up in a lot of stuff, and there was a lot going on with the movie. There was a lot of characters and all of that. I get all of that. But what you guys missed one important detail. And I brought some stuff to help us deep dive into this. Okay, so get your popcorn. Okay, so the whole thing about this movie was the message that Jor-El sent Clark with, and we know that he was living 30 years of his life based on one part of that message, but the second part of the message was the most important, and that's this. And this is why I think Jor-El should have came in and fought Superman instead of Ultraman. See? You talking about no remorse, Raj? You talking about no remorse, no morals? Jor-El sent Clark sent Kal-El down to Earth with a mission. And he didn't know he was supposed to be doing that mission. So I found this on YouTube, and I'm gonna share this with y'all, and then we're gonna talk about it. Okay, hold on. I think that's where the movie was. This is gonna answer your question. This is what he did. Tell me if you can't hear this, okay?
Oh, my son, I don't have much time. Krypton is on the brink of destruction. If you're receiving this, I want you to know that I love you, and I sent you to Earth because. And the video just cuts off from there. But we just received deleted footage from an anonymous sender to reveal Superman's true intentions. Let's watch. And I sent you to Earth because you're on a top secret mission to get bitches. Yeah, you heard what I said. I want you to call all the baddest bitches on earth. Them white bitches, black bitches, Hispanic bitches, Asian bitches,
video is fake.
Korean
My
bitches.
father
Would
was
never say such a thing.
You need to try out them Puerto Rican bitches too. I heard they were the best.
No. In my planet, we don't refer to women as bitches. We are a progressive species. No, back up. Me and your Uncle Zorel visited that planet a while back during his bachelor party. It was easy bagging bitches. Joey was pretty much dead over there. I'm sorry, he came from a different time. And don't waste your time playing that nice guy bullshit. They only want you for your cryptocurrency. He listens to a lot of podcasts. Your goal is to impregnate as many bitches as you can. I heard our arch nemesis Nick Cannon already has 12. Can you believe that? And don't worry about paying child support. That law only pertains to humans. I am sorry. Please.
That's true.
Make us proud for Krypton. Well, you heard that right, folks. Hide your daughters, hide your wives, because Superman is here to swoop in and plant his seed all over Metropolis. Hello.
All right. I'm gonna put this in the thing too. All right, I put that in there too. So that's the link. Go hit up Rich Guy. But look, the point of this, he brings up a very good point that I didn't think of. Okay. Now, even as much as I hate Mark from Invincible, now that we're in like season 4, all right, he been getting his butt kicked way too much. Okay. But one thing that Mark did that Clark never did, and I had never thought about this. Mark went and tried some of these different flavors, bro. I mean, think about this. Like really think about this. All right. Let's say Jor-El sent Kal-El down to Earth to go to university. All right, to go study and learn and then come back. All right, like go do his college years. Clark has only bagged one chick in all of the movies and TV shows. He's only bagging one type of female in the whole world, bro. Like he's going from Kansas to Metropolis, and the first girl he sees is who he attaches to himself. Like where's all the other girls? All right. Now Lana Lang may or may not have some Asian descent in her, right? But I don't think when they wrote her in the 20s, they were thinking about a Asian girl being in Kansas. Okay. I mean, at least Mark went from a black girl to a superhead redheaded white girl. At least he tried. I mean, you can't like black and white, all right? But I mean, like, he ain't tried no Spanish girls, no Asian girls, no black girls, no European girls, not even just American, European girls, German girls, girls from Alaska, Hawaiian girls, island girls, like no other type of girls, no Polynesian girls, nothing. He saw one type of girl, one girl with that had the same color hair as him, and he was like, "Yup, that's the one. And then you want to talk about the Christopher Reeve stumbling and like this dude could have been on vacation every weekend in different parts of the world, just bagging different girls. Period. Like all over the world, every weekend. And then Lois will be like, "Yo, Clark, you wanna go catch a movie? Nah, I'm going to Hawaii this weekend." What? I'm going to, yeah, I got some stuff to do. I'll be back on Monday though. You know, and then he posting pictures and taking pictures with girls. I'm not even saying like egregiously. I mean just like, you know, and he just, you know, he on the gram posting pictures with different girls. You don't think Lois will come around quicker than that? Oh, this dude, he's bagging all these girls. And I'm not even saying he gotta be going and putting his babies in all of these human earthling girls. I'm just saying this dude seen one girl that looked just like him, and he was like, "Yep, that's it." Hell, there was probably black girls on Krypton. Like you don't even know. Like this, he probably wouldn't have been attracted to the same type of girl on Krypton. He really should, like Raj said, he should be going for it the multiple. You gotta make up for a whole race of people, and you about to be alive way longer than that one girl. Way longer than her. You multiplying, like, I mean, like, you should have yo, Kent Farm should be Kent Village, my guy. You should have Kent Island. Like, come on, bro. You have to make up for your whole race. Okay? Hell, even in Invincible, who do you call it? Mark's dad, he had babies on multiple planets. He wasn't no fool. He wasn't about to let one girl on one planet disrupt the rest of the stuff he had going on, and his race wasn't even dying. Some guys waste their blessings in life. What can I say? Because of his dad. Yo, let Clark have been from New York City. Let Clark have been from New York City. Hell, even Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, he messed with Gwen. He messed with Felicia. He messed with MJ. Okay. I'm sure there's some other girls in the mix. And that dude was a real dork. Clark was a pretend dork. Clark wasn't uncoordinated. Clark, Superman mess up, throw a baseball, Peter Parker throw a baseball and it'll hit him in the face. Superman throw a baseball and it'll go through like an apartment building and wreck it. Okay, like we're not talking about the same thing. All right, you want this? It's wasted potential, bro. That's crazy. Like his dad should have been like, "Yo, go enjoy your look. I got one lady, okay. I ain't never left the Kent Farm, okay. But you want to be out here. You want to be out in the city. You want to go see the world. Like, go enjoy your life. Just don't get nobody pregnant." And he wouldn't even have to he wouldn't have to go through 4 movies just to get 5, really, just to get and impregnate the girl, just to get the girl to notice him. She would have been interested, cause girls would have been all over dude. Dean Cain wasn't the one, my guy. Like, if Lois didn't shape up quick, nah, man. I got Cat over here. I got all these. Look. And I heard about Selena Kyle over in Gotham. Oh, man. Yo, and Wonder Woman? Come on, bro. That's the story. Why are we stuck on him with Lois Lane? The real story should be him and Wonder Woman. At least let him give that a try and be like, it didn't work out the way I thought. At least I got some stuff ain't nobody else could get. But you know what? You know who's really in my heart? Lois Lane. Not really, because really it's Lana. Because really Lana is really the one that got away. Truth be told. Whatever, bro. Devil's advocate. Not everybody's built to be in these streets, waste of potential. But he outlived this chick like lifetimes. What are we talking about? Like, I get it. Like, if he was like, yo, I'm gonna wait till she go, and then okay. But I mean, he had a range, bro. You think that if Clark was going ahead, he didn't even have to play football. He was just Clark. You think. I mean, and you want to fine. You don't want to bring attention to him being in camp. The first job he seen at the first place he went to go work at was, at least with Spider-Man, he was in love with the girl next door that been next door to him all his life. Just like Lana. You think Lana would have been cut off on the high school football dude if she knew what Clark could do? Wasted potential. At least in Smallville, he had Chloe that was all up under his chin, and that was before she even knew what he could do. I'm just saying, bro. And Lois don't even be looking that good, in my opinion. Okay. Lana is always the fine one. In Wonder Woman? Come on, bro. Whatever. This is me. This is me watching Clark Kent waste all his potential. This is me. This is me watching Clark watch all his wasted potential just go on by. And I'm not even saying doing it how Jor-El told him to do it in the new Superman movie. I'm not even saying do it that way. I'm just saying, bro, you wasting potential, bro. That's all I'm saying. I should have been the best friend in Smallville because I would. Yeah. Hey, Clark, let me talk to you for a second. Because we about to go on vacation, bro. We about to be up in Hawaii, somewhere on the beach somewhere. Even in Cali, somewhere. Playing volleyball, something. Waste potential. All right. That's my Superman 2025 rant. Last thing on that, never mind. I was just going to say that I seen this and thought this was funny. And I was going to say this is what it looked like if Clark had to get changed into Superman in a porta potty, or if he had made a pit stop between fights. That's what it would have looked like. But okay. I'll move on. All right. So Raj said his dad was out of pocket with his delivery of the message. It is about how you say it and not what you say. You know what's even crazier about that? Not that that's what his father said, but that the mom was still standing there. Like, that's something he should have said, like, when the mom, like, walked away and she thought they were done. And she didn't even say nothing either. Well, maybe she did. I don't know. I don't remember. But because it did say from the parents, so I don't really remember her saying nothing. But like that's some you say when like she walk away, like yo by the way, son. But yeah, that was crazy. It didn't have to be that aggressive. He could have just been like repopulate our species. And it's crazy that Zod wasn't even thinking about that either. But Zod always got like a side chick with him everywhere he goes, so he probably wasn't even thinking about that. But you see, Omni-Man, when he got to Earth, he ain't just sit by and do nothing. I'm just saying. Super bad. Okay. I'm gonna take a 60-second break to go get a drink, and then we're gonna watch this Superman instant reaction from the Midnight Boys on the Ringerverse. All facts. She just stood by her man. She understood the stakes. The whole planet was going to be gone, and just him left. You right. She knew what was up. And I appreciate them some smart parents, bro. She knew what it was, bro. She did. I would have loved to see them like have a bigger moment. Now, a side note about that before I get my water. That actress that is the girl, she was on Westworld. Laura Vaughn. Westworld alum Angela Safarin. Yeah, so she was in Westworld. Beautiful girl. Now this is a Lana Lang type, if you ask me. Just my opinion. His mom every day and been like, I want Lois. It's crazy. Like his dad had good taste. Anyway, my point in bringing her up is everything I've ever seen her in, she's always died in. Now, if you've never seen Westworld, go watch Westworld. It's a great show. And I'm not saying that she necessarily dies in that show, but she always be dying in everything I see her in. I'm just leave it at that. Y'all go watch Westworld. At least you'll actually get to see her acting. Yeah. And I think girl's like 5'11". How tall is she? Nope, I don't want that. I don't want that. Oh, she's only 5'8". And I say that as if I'm not 4'11". But I really thought she was like 5'11" or something. She's only 5'8". Tall girl, beautiful smile, but yeah. Armenian. Yeah. Yeah. But either way, yeah. My point was saying is everything I see her in, she's always dying. So it would have been cool to just see, but whatever. Okay. I'm going to get a drink of water real quick, and then, like I said, we're going to talk about this Superman reaction from the Midnight Boys. Which I will share. Okay, now I think I'm back. Raj, am I back now? Thumbs up. Okay, I can hear myself. Learning how to troubleshoot in real time. It's crazy. Okay, so we are going to watch the Midnight Boys. Hold on. Okay. No, it ain't. No, it is not. Unless they want to send a check. Yo, Raj, is my volume loud? like the mic, or okay. All right, so like I said, we are going to talk about. We're gonna watch the Midnight Boys. For any reason you can't hear clearly, let me know.
All right, but today the Midnight Boys will be giving you their instant reactions to James Gunn's Superman. All right. DC, EU, Superman, even slight DCU, character canon, all types of spoilers. Anything that has to do with the history of this character, the history of this character in film, on television, in comic books, could be spoiled. If you ain't seen it and you ain't watched it, run the spoiler warning. We're getting ready to talk about You're listening to a reaction podcast. The spoilers are coming. All right. This is going to be one. It's going to be an interesting one. There's a lot in this movie.
There's a lot.
And there's only one guy who can streamline it for you. That's Chuck Wagon with the trademarked Midnight Manifest. Chuck, take it away.
All right, this is your Midnight Manifest for Superman, written and directed by James Gunn, starring David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Eddie Gathegi, Anthony Kerrigan, Nathan Fillion, and Isabel Merced. Metahumans have existed on this Earth for thousands of years, but Superman, the world's strongest meta, has only been active for 30. Clark is struggling to balance his personal and hero life. Superman is dog-sitting the cute but untrained super dog Crypto for his niece while beefing with his fellow.
Wow. Well, man, he jumped into it. Okay, so I don't even know if it's a spoiler at this point, but everybody's mentioning well, like, if you didn't know, Crypto is not Superman's dog. It's actually Supergirl's dog. And everyone knows that Supergirl is the next movie. So I don't know. I think there's different levels of spoilers, especially like when you first talk about something, but I mean, so far his Midnight Manifest is accurate. Before, though, we continue with that, I do want to do this real quick. Okay, so just in case you haven't seen the movie, this is just a visualizer so you kind of understand who everybody is. All right, so this is Mr. Terrific. Okay, he's like the coolest dude in the movie. This is Crypto. Obviously, this is Supergirl's dog, who is obnoxious as hell, but I'm not going to say too much because the dog lovers will attack me. This is Lex. And I thought this Lex did a fantastic job and really embodied the hatred that Lex Luthor can and does have for Superman. And I like that he was a genius and already rich, and basically had everything at his disposal to try to stop Superman. This is who played Lois Lane. Now, if you've ever seen The Marvelous Miss Maisel, she's the main actress in that. Don't ask me anything else she's been in, but this is definitely a different type of character. And you'll either like her or you won't. Most people seem to like her. This is the guy that plays the Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. He's like the third Green Lantern. So obviously, you got Hal Jordan and John Stewart. This is like the backup to the backup third string Green Lantern. So far, he's the only Green Lantern in the movie, but there's going to be a Green Lantern TV show featuring the other two Green Lanterns, Hal and John. She's called the Engineer. She actually also has a real name. I just forgot what it is at the moment. But her powers are really dope. She works for Lex and is one of his main villains. And I know they're probably going to spoil it, but out of all the villains that fought Superman in this movie, she gave him the most problems. Basically, her powers are nanotech, and she can kind of do the same stuff that Green Lantern could do just with her nanotech. But her whole body is kind of like at the disposal of the nanotech. So it's pretty interesting. This is the dude that plays Jimmy Olsen. He did a really good job, and he's actually really likable. He's not obnoxious. He doesn't get in the way. He has kind of his own like storyline coming in, and he's really central to stopping Lex in this. So it was now they said that he might have like a TV show or something. I don't know about all of that, but I think in the context of this movie, I think he did really well. Let's see. This is Ultraman. I'm sure they're gonna talk about Ultraman, but if you didn't know, and this is a big spoiler, unfortunately, Ultraman was not Henry Cavill like we were hoping that it would be. It's actually just a clone of David Cornsweet's Superman. I thought it should have been like a bad clone of Jor-El, but they went with that, and he might end up being like a Bizarro like later on in another movie or TV show down the line. This was Superman a robot, and basically he gets a name at the end, which ends up being Gary. He's also there to be an action figure to be sold to kids in the store. So that's what he was there for. This was Hawk Girl. I thought she did a pretty good job. You have probably seen her in a couple of other things, including the new Dora the Explorer movie, and she was also in she was the pregnant girl in the new Alien Romulus movie. So I haven't seen her as like her own like lead character yet, but I mean she was pretty good. She definitely played a good counterpart to Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific, for sure. If not anything else, she looked pretty cool in the suit too. But and she was snatching people up and hitting them with that hammer. So yeah. But obviously, you will want to see more of her as an actress in the lead role. Now, this chick is the Eve Teschmacher. If you remember in like the first Superman movie, the Christopher Reeve movie, she was like his like girlfriend type that ended up helping Superman. That's basically her character. there is a Otis also, which is like a random black dude that looked like a janitor in the movie who doesn't really have a big role, but you know, as an ode to those characters, they put 2 actors and actress in that role. She has a more significant role overall in the movie, related to Jimmy. But yeah, that's it. It was okay. And then my favorite character of the whole movie, Kat. Yeah, she had a lot of personality. And then this dude was like the president of like this of the other country that was basically under Lex's control. So yeah, I'm only showing you a picture because if they end up talking about it, you'll be able to put a face to it. His name was Vasil Gurkos. Yeah, but he ended up being like a puppet of Lex, which was pretty interesting that they went that far off the hinges. But I mean, it served its purpose. And then this was Metamorpho. He was like the Groot. He was the Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. He was basically like Groot mixed with I want to call him Gronk, but it's not Gronk. What's the dude? Hold on. Groot and Drax. He was like a mixture of Groot and Drax. That's what Metamorpho was. And then because they're going to talk about it, yeah, Supergirl. She did make a cameo to come get her dog, but she was also drunk, and she's going to be a party, like a drunk party girl going forward, which doesn't make me excited for her movie, and probably not something I'm going to rush to go see. But some people are going to like it, some people won't. She's not, I can't even, you didn't even see enough of her to say if she was a dumb blonde or not. She's definitely just a drunk party girl, which is probably going to be annoying. And then that's it for the cast of characters. Let me see. Yeah, no law. Did I mess up? Hold on. If that means less of him with him going for it, doesn't bother me. Not a fan of Crypto. I mean, he was a bit over. Like, there were some scenes, I guess they were saying that were supposed to be like serious, and he just like was a comic relief in a serious moment. He wasn't as bad as the goats in that Thor: Love and Thunder movie, but he was pretty obnoxious. And to me, it made Superman look weaker because, granted, it wasn't his dog, but I mean, he couldn't get control of that dog at all. And it's like, bro, like, you're Superman, like, get out like a newspaper or something. Like, you can't reel that dog in. It just reinforced that Superman was getting cucked over in all facets of his life, to me. Going forward, not going for it. Sorry. It's like 1 o'clock. No lies about the dog lovers, yeah, so I'm not even gonna fight them on that. Miss Maisel is a hate watch for me, and I'm still trying to figure out how and why. That's a conversation for not on the internet. Okay, now let's get back to these Midnight Boys. Hope that kind of helped put stuff in context.
Metas, The Justice Gang, starring Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl. And also his relationship with Lois is on the verge of imploding. After stopping a war between two countries, Lois pushes Clark on the ethics of Superman handling world conflicts with no oversight beside himself, which triggers the sensitive farm boy. Little do Clark and Lois know that Lex Luthor is using a conflict to establish his own country called Luthor. To do this, Lex has created his own Superman task force, Ultraman, the Engineer, and the Raptors. After breaking into the Fortress of Solitude...
Oh yeah, that was gonna be a whole thing that I was gonna bring up with the whole Invincible thing. But yeah, Lex has like a super team of like flying ninjas called the Raptors, and them along with Ultraman and the Engineer are like all like his super team that he uses to stop Clark.
To dog-napping Crypto and translating Jor-El's message to Kal-El, which actually calls for him to take over Earth. Lex has everything he needs to push Superman over the edge. The U.S. government gives Lex the authority to arrest and interrogate Superman. This all happens in a pocket universe. Metamorpho is there, also his green baby. The heroes work together to escape with the help of Mr.
The green baby... I feel like James Gunn always puts like a green... It's like Baby Groot. Again, I think it's just in there to be an action figure. Whatever. I mean, there is a plot reason why the baby is in there, but I think it's just there also to sell merchandise. Just like unnecessary characters. Also, I think like the movie, maybe Lex like really was trying to push Superman over the edge, and the fact that like that didn't even like they didn't even toe the line with that kind of also diminishes Superman, in my opinion. Whatever.
Terrific and Lois, as the Daily Planet team get their journalism on to clear Superman's name, Clark inspires the Justice Gang to stop the war. The war, while he beats the Engineer, Ultraman, who is AKA his evil clone Luthor, and helps save Metropolis from a rift that has opened in the space-time continuum. That has been your very long Midnight Manifest for Superman. Did I miss anything, guys?
I don't think so. I think you got it pretty much covered there.
Right. Okay. I want to do something to start this. New take on the character. Different take on the character. First off, just around Chuck, then to the Midnight Boys, what was different about this Superman? Was this a different Superman on screen than you had seen basically since Singer Superman in 06,
I think the
07?
thing that James Gunn was able to achieve in this movie that they still to this day struggle in the comics in every media appearance of Superman is that thing we're always talking about, humanizing him. And I just thought my favorite parts of this movie were, okay, how do you make someone like Superman relatable, who's good at everything and the fastest and the strongest? And I'm like, oh, Superman's bad with dogs. Like he's not a good, like he has this cute, like, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Seeing like this super powerful being like struggle with Crypto, and he loves Crypto, but he's also annoyed.
Does he love him though? Like it's not his. I mean, if it wasn't his cousin's dog, would he have went so far above and beyond to go find that dog? I don't know. But yeah, like I said, he definitely struggles with the dog. And to me, it just makes it annoying.
Or even like Clark and Lois being on the verge of breaking up and like just seeing Superman not be that great at being Superman yet, but also struggling as a reporter and struggling in the relationship.
The whole thing with Superman and Lois almost breaking up or whatever, I feel like the relationship is too new. Like they've only been together 3 months, and I feel like she knows way too much for being only together like 3 months. Like their relationship doesn't like seem lived in. Like if they were living together, I mean, obviously they knew how to get into each other's apartments, but even when he was in her apartment, like she didn't know that was him in the apartment. Whereas like if it was a normal thing and like, you know, he was in there cooking and she smelled the food cooking, he was like playing jazz and then he had like the apron on and like that, like it seemed like them breaking up that early is whatever. If they were like living together and then he had to go stay at his place or something, or go back to or something, whatever. Like he couldn't sleep there. So then like I would have felt, but them breaking up, it too much. It was too much happening. It was supposed to feel like they were deeper into their relationship when it was only 3 months. And for a person that's been in a long-term relationship, 3 months ain't nothing. Like y'all barely memorize each other's numbers in 3 months. Yeah, not a fan of the baby either.
There were all of these like little moments where I'm like, oh, that's the humanity in him. Like it's not just all of the shots of him saving the little girl or saving the squirrel. It is, I'm like, oh, like this Superman can fail. This Superman can be nerdy.
He's the cuck.
This Superman cannot be the best at everything. And even just
No diddy.
when he explodes through the office and is like yelling at Lex about like, yo, where's Crypto? Like, where's my dog? He's just the dog. You're like, oh, I think we've had all of these Supermen who are like evil and have to hold back their emotions or whatever.
He's
and this is the
whiny.
first time I was like, oh, this is a good Superman who can destroy Lex so easily. And is like, Cornswet just did such a good job of like, this is what happens when somebody like fucks with your dog. And like just that acting, I just thought James Gunn and co did an amazing job just humanizing that character.
I want to talk about those two scenes specifically. It's interesting that you brought them up. I don't want to make this whole podcast talking about the differences in this Superman between past Supermans, but we have to at least, when I say that, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Snyder Superman or Singer Superman
Donner,
or
yeah.
Donner Superman or Superman and Lois or Lois and Clark or anything like that. But I do want to bring two specific scenes from past movies into the discussion of this particular Superman and Lois, Lex and Superman in the office, okay? Because both of those scenes have been done before. They were done in Superman the movie, and they were done in a completely different way to make a completely different point about the character. Totally different. So I guess it's 10 minutes, the conversation between Superman and Lois Lane.
When Lois is interviewing Superman for the first time.
Yeah, right.
Right. All right. When Lois is granted the interview, the My Night with Superman from the Donner movie, he comes in there, back straight, completely confident. She cannot get her thing together. She is seeing him. He is beautiful. He is confident.
Also
He
not
takes
together.
her to fly. He completely takes her out of the world, out of her world. This scene, Lois brings Superman into hers. The complete inverse. She legitimately says, hey, your head's in the clouds. Like, you think that you have every answer to every question.
Yeah.
You think that what you do is okay as long as it's you doing it. But I'm telling you.
Okay, so as they talk about characters, I'm going to bring up Invincible. If you haven't seen Invincible, go watch Invincible. But my whole point with so what I was saying before is Mark is like Superman in this movie. But I was going to bring up the fact that Jor-El is like Omni-Man, even though he's not on Earth. And then as they talk about certain characters, I did like a whole like breakdown of who like to me they correlate to in Invincible. And there are parts of this movie where Lois to me is like the Amber character in Invincible. And Amber was Mark's first girlfriend, which happened to be the black chick, but it was more so of not being like black or white. It was just more so of like her personality. And some would say a little bit too harsh on Mark, especially because at that point she didn't know everything that Mark had going on. Whereas like in this, it's very clear that Lois knows everything that Superman is doing. Hold on. Could have did that. Okay. Continue.
That's like not true. I'm telling you, I have questions. And he's like, you wouldn't ask this if you didn't know me. And she's saying, it doesn't matter that I know you. I know you. I would ask that question whether or not I knew the answer to it or not, because this is what being a person is. Being a person that lives on this planet comes with a set of responsibilities, a set of guardrails, a set of checks, balances, and laws. And you are not above those.
Yeah.
You're not.
He is.
You're here.
He
and
should
I'm
be.
asking you this because
And he can be.
as a citizen of the world that you claim to protect, you have to answer to me. And it was a way to bring the character out of the sky and ground him, which is the inverse of what that movie had to do. The first movie, The Dawn of Superman. The second one is when Superman comes into Lex's office. That scene also exists in the first one.
And it's great in that one, too.
It's fantastic in it. Superman comes through, blows the door down.
It's open, come in.
Lex, it's open, come in. Lex says, it's so funny. Just Hackman is still the man. Hackman goes, oh, my lawyer will be in contact with you about the damage to the door.
Yeah.
Just very subtly fucking with him. But even in that entire time, Superman is standing there, stone-faced, in admonishment with Lex Luthor. There's a clear hierarchy in that scene. Lex Luthor is...
Wait, but if I'm not mistaken, Lex also had kryptonite there. So his hierarchy of not fearing any, not only did he have kryptonite already there in the so-called office that was underneath the tunnel, like underground. Not only did he have kryptonite, but before Superman got to where he was, he had basically kind of like Batman versus Superman, how Batman had all of these like things set up to like shoot at Superman and try to weaken him and see what his weaknesses are and all of this. Like it was the same thing. So he was basically putting him through trials of, oh, does bullets work? Does gas work? Can he suffocate? Does fire work? All of this stuff. So he wasn't afraid because he knew that he already had booby traps in a sense, especially he had the kryptonite. Whereas in this movie, Lex didn't have that. He had that somewhere else, but he didn't have that in the office around his neck or anything like that, which I'm surprised he never thought to do that. Because then at least like Superman can never like get up on him. Whatever. Just wanted to point that out.
Scamp and a guy that has all types of intellect and all of that, but there's no give. Like Superman comes in there with his shoulders, with his back straight. He kind of leaves. I actually don't remember how the scene ends. He kind of leaves with his back straight.
Yeah.
In this one, Lex robs Superman of his power.
Yeah.
He dresses him down.
Superman did not leave with his back straight. Lex put the kryptonite over his neck with a chain and tried to drown him. And then Trademarker chick went and basically took the kryptonite off of him because Lex said that he was going to blow up, believe it or not, a part of California and a part of New Jersey where her mom lived. And the reason why she saved him is so that he could go and save the mom first. And but before she took that necklace off, she kissed him. She kissed Christopher Reeve Superman. She got her kissing just in case her mom died. And Clark was vulnerable. She still got the kiss off. So what he's saying is a part of his recollection. He's trying to recollect. That's not how it happened. I just want to bring that point up.
Man comes in there out of control. He is angry. He is emotional. He he's mad, and he's the most powerful being in the planet, and he's standing there in front of Lex, and at the end, Superman whispers, "It's just a dog." He appeals to Lex Luthor. He's overwhelmed in that scene. He loses the scene.
Mhm.
And like there are things like that in the movie that just they tell.
Also, in this movie, Eve Tremarger is filming Superman in the office, like live streaming Superman in the office. So Superman really can't do anything even if he wanted to, because Eve is filming him. So he's already beholden upon the stuff that got leaked about his parents. So if he does anything horrific to Lex, then they're gonna be like, he is the monster that Lex is saying. So I get what he's saying, and yes, it does humanize him, but there's also subtleties in these scenes where Lex's power is not just him as a person, it's what he has around him and the resources that he could utilize that Superman also may or may not be able to conquer, in this case, i.e. social media.
You that this is a different telling of this story with a different character, and it's really the only way to me to make the character contemporary in such a cynical landscape.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about this after the movie too. It's a legitimate 180 from the Superman that we got in Snyder's version. The first thing like we hear Superman say when he's talking to the robots is like, "Gee golly." Like it's just like completely and utterly a reaction to that in a way that I think is good, right? Superman feels like someone you can talk to when they saved the city from the big kaiju thing and the kids are hugging him and he's high-fiving. He just seems like a person that you would want to talk to, that like Molly was like, "Hey man, I fed Superman one time. Like that's my guy. I'm gonna go save him in the street." It's a thing that we see in comics and comic stories all the time. In Spider-Man 2, when the city protects Peter Parker in the train, right? Like he has a connection to Metropolis that is undeniable in that moment. And the movie is constantly trying to tell you that. There's a scene at the end with him and Lex Luthor where he's literally telling Lex how human he is and how much he, like being an alien, that's not who I am. I am human. I'm just like you. Literally looking at us in the camera and telling us, guys, I'm just like us. I'm just like you, which I think for this movie and what it has to do to make Superman like likable again, it is a lot, but I understand why they felt like they had to do it, because it has been so long since we've had a Superman that felt like a normal human being.
Something just popped in my mind, and it kind of actually in real time. I want you guys to live this because it popped in my mind after what actually happens at the end of the scene in the original movie. Lex puts the Superman, the kryptonite necklace on Superman, and he weakens him. And so in that scene as well, Superman leaves kind of on his knees, kind of like cut down by Lex, which is important, right? Because Lex has to be a formidable opponent. Superman didn't detect it. It was encased in lead, the whole deal. It actually just popped in my mind. It's been a while.
Right. And I'm not, again, if you haven't seen this in a long time, it makes sense. But I literally just watched these movies and then I went and rewatched Superman 2025. So my recall is a little bit better. But yes, I get the whole point of like humanizing him and making him like of the people instead of like Snyder's version where he was a god among the people.
Since I've watched the original Superman. But I will still say this, that even, and maybe we should replace this, but even in that scene, it's the mechanism of weakening Superman is still different. Like we get kryptonite here as a very distinct plot device for one particular scene. Other than that, Superman is almost always weakened by choice in this movie.
Nah, because he's a cup, bro. And that's fine. again, that's fine. He's weak because that's how he was written, and that's fine. For those wondering, okay, so like my whole point with Lex not having kryptonite at his disposal, they say like all the kryptonite was destroyed in the world, whatever, but he used Metamorpho to basically turn his hand into kryptonite to weaken Superman, instead of having like actual kryptonite that he could put around the neck of Superman. Now, back to my whole like invincible kind of thing. Metamorpho to me is like Monster Girl in Invincible, and that might be like the loosest thread that I have, but like in a sense, like there's a cost that comes with using the power, which is in her case, she ages in reverse. So, but she like sometimes needs to use her powers. Whereas in like this case, like Metamorpho can't like hold his baby. You know what I mean? So again, like that's why, like to me, the correlation was simple. Like we can use her and we need her, but there's a cost that comes with that power. Continue.
Like what he feels like he's supposed to do, about his emotional connection to people. The only time kryptonite is really the big bad in any scene in this film is when he's in there with Metamorpho, and it's between Metamorpho. Metamorpho has a decision. Kryptonite is actually more of a device for Metamorpho than it is actually for
It's
Superman.
just to hold him somewhere. That's it.
It's to hold him there, and then also it's to facilitate Metamorpho's hero turn.
Yeah.
Right. Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
There you go,
There
Steve.
you go. I completely agree with a lot of what Charles said as well. Like the humanizing of Superman is something that we almost kind of forgot how important it is until we're faced with it with things like this. The scenes that you mentioned, particularly his interview with Lois, really are the things that make this movie shine in ways that is the biggest breath of fresh air that not only this character, but like kind of superhero stories in general have been lacking. The idea that you kind of forget that he actually is an alien, and instead he's not just a guy from Kansas that happens to be the most powerful being on the planet, because all of the things that weigh him down and all of the things that he feels buoyed by to help people are the things that people find ways to hate and question him. And that is a concept that, when challenged in his superhero infancy, is the most frustrating and like friction-filled idea to put in his head. That like, if I'm just doing good, how can that possibly be bad? And all the things that around this world complicate those actions. When you see, like, there's a moment that I thought was kind of like, there's a moment that I rolled my eyes at, but then I realized how important that was when, like, there's a big kaiju attacking the city and he saves a squirrel from getting stomped on. Like, after he has just saved like a dog and a person and a little girl. And I'm like, why even the squirrel? And I'm like, is that too much? And I'm like, wait a minute, no, because the character can only think about saving things and making decisions one way. And
I agree with that. And Mark from Invincible is just like that. Difference is Mark is half human, but the biggest difference is that Mark, well, not difference, the fact that they are so compassionate about every little thing, but he can't fight. So, and he keeps getting his butt whooped. So yeah, I mean, it's great that he's more human, but like, do be getting chipped up and almost dying and need to get recharged like a battery, just like Mark. So how would you want your Superman if he was saving you?
And the people around him this movie at its best brings into questions the right ways that he can go about that while still entrusting all of his ideals onto humanity.
It's kind of what the character lost.
It is.
Like in In the first movie, he saves a cat out of a tree. And they're like, it seems stupid, right?
Okay. This was a note that Raj sent me. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Because this is story time for Van. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit. So before we do that, I'm going to just go back to what I was saying about some of the characters, right? Because we mentioned Lex, right? So if you ever watch Invincible, to me, Lex is like the Cecil character, where just he has like everything at his possible disposal, for good or for bad. Also, Cecil has the Reanimen, which are like these crazy looking like zombie humanoid monster ninjas that he uses, where Lex has the Raptors. Cecil has the Global Defense Agency, or the GDA, and Lex Luthor has Luthor Corp. And then Cecil has his own kind of Justice League team called the Guardians of the Globe, whereas Lex Luthor has Planet Watch. So again, I'm making my case for how James Gunn sat down and watched Invincible and then went and wrote this movie. I just wanted to make that point. When we talk about Oliver or Crypto reminds me of Oliver, which is Mark's brother, just in the sense of like Mark can't keep his brother under control and Superman can't keep his dog under control. And it's like a conflict that Mark has to kind of learn or grow from. But the difference is like Oliver grows as a human. So he like that's also part of Oliver's kind of conflict that he has to overcome. Whereas like Crypto is still going to be the same animal that he is. And I don't think that there's ever going to be any type of growth in that, especially not with Supergirl being the owner. And then like Gary is like the character, the robot to me in the movie, kind of like this character that that is a robot but also has human characteristics, and I'll leave it at that. When they bring up Mr. Terrific and Ultraman, and when they talk about the engineer more, I talked about Metamorpho. Oh, and then Baby Joey. Joey's the baby that they keep talking about. To me, Baby Joey is kind of like Baby Oliver. Because Baby Oliver is definitely completely different than how Oliver grows up as a kid. So, yeah. It's kind of like it's just a baby used as a plot device for other characters. And that's what Baby Joey is. Now, I heard that in the comics that Baby Joey is supposed to be equivalent to Franklin Richards, which is Reed and Sue Richards' son in the new Fantastic Four movie. So, like, there's both supposed to be like the most powerful beings like in all of Marvel and DC respectively. That's all I know. So I can't spoil anything. That's all I know. But so far, that's what I heard. Okay. So I'm going to skip a little bit.
Say goodbye to my Superman. I have to say goodbye to my father. I've had to say goodbye to all of these friends. And now I've gotten so old and society has moved to a place where the character is dead. Like the character of Superman is dead. The character died. And that's not true. Superman is alive. Somebody was able to figure out Superman. There is a Superman that exists in a contemporary fashion. There's a Superman that makes sense for his world. there's a hero that will inspire more children and more comic book characters. There's a father somewhere that can give Superman to his sons and daughters and give the character a new life and all of that. It's not gone. It's not. So I don't have to say goodbye to that thing that was such an important part of my childhood. Somebody was able to do something where I am not going to outlive Superman. And it is stupid, and it is comic books, and it is me making it way too personal, but this is part of the mythology of my life, is looking up to the sky, is looking to the stars, is Star Wars, is all of this stuff. It's been a very important part of my life, and I'm not ready to say goodbye to it yet. And every time one of these things comes out and I don't quite get it and I don't quite understand it and it's not making sense and it's becoming capitalism more than it's becoming inspiration or art or anything like that, I wonder, am I over this shit? And I'm more than that. It's sad. Mm-hmm. So like when I saw the movie and I sat there and I felt even a little bit of the same way I had felt before, man, I was relieved. Now, I'm not saying it's the best movie in the fucking world. I'm not saying that it's going to change everything, but I'm just saying, fuck, somebody knows how to make this dude fly again. And I was pleased.
I mean, do you think?
Okay, so again, I kind of skipped over Van's story about his dad passing. In correlation to the Superman movie. But I mean, I will say that like one of the reasons why I am so and I don't want to say fixated, but attached to the Batman character is because Bruce lost his parents at a young age, and I lost my mom at a very young age. And then I also relate to, Dick Grayson, kind of moving in with Bruce and having that relationship and wanting to be their own individual, but still like living under somebody's house and their rules and trying to become a young man under another man's kind of care. So, I mean, and Dick Grayson lost his parents too at a young age. So, I think those elements of heroes are what are realistic and is what we attach ourselves to, like when we feel like we can relate to these characters. I think that's how we fall in love with them. Gunn built a great world and this Superman fits it. I want to see more. Yeah, I mean, and however you feel about this movie, I think his first job, Gunn's first job, was to build a universe that you didn't mind spending time in. And I think he's off to a really good start, just like he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a good point. Thanks, Raj, for pointing that out.
It's also that thing where I think like Gen X has kind of gotten two versions cinematically of Superman. Mm-hmm. I think there's like, for all the shit people give Zack Snyder, I think Man of Steel was a very, like, if you watch that movie, I'm like, oh, it was of a time where I feel like as people, we weren't probably ready. Like, we weren't ready for this type of Superman. I think we wanted to see our heroes be more realistic and destroy cities and all this shit. And it's interesting that James Gunn is now the director, who is like someone who starts in horror, starts trolling on the web, is just very, very just like a certain type of comedy. I get all.
Also, I want to point out that James Gunn said that he's a Batman fan. So, I mean, I get it. why wouldn't she make Superman weak if you're a Batman fan? You want a Superman that Batman could beat up, in my opinion.
All the way to this point where he really is, I think, for good and bad in a lot of different ways. This movie to me felt like seeing a director almost find his like real sincerity, and
I
like
couldn't agree more.
And it's like I think sometimes I'm like, oh, that's corny, but I'm like, oh, but is that the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Raj said, Man of Steel was a type of Superman that was going to have those who liked it and those who really hated it. This is new Superman is more accessible to people, in my opinion. This Superman is more commercial. And I think what makes Snyder so bold is the fact that he was okay making a niche Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Justice League and Snyderverse, and he doesn't care that people don't like it. Whereas this version, the Gunn verse, has so much writing on it that Gunn could not fail. So he has to make it commercial. Not to say that he didn't put characters in there that wasn't bold, but he has more on the line writing on it for the studio.
Yeah. There's a push and pull where I'm like, not everything works, but when the sincerity works, like when it hits, I'm like, okay, it was worth maybe the other 2 or 3 corny jokes that maybe didn't.
There's not a cynical bone in this movie's body.
It can't be,
and that is actually like, I'll give it all the credit in the world for that, because that's really kind of something that we all needed. And I'm really grateful that you got that much of an experience out of it, Van. But I wanted to note.
Raj said Snyder's director's cut is very good to me, and if I understand why some people don't like it, it won't allow them to yuck and yum the. Oh yeah, that's Snyder cut, because the Justice League movie switched directors and got so messed up, just kind of like how the new or the most recent Star Wars trilogy got messed up. But to watch like the director's like vision come to fruition and to keep that darker tone and to add so much more detail and character development to those characters just made it worth those whatever 4 to 8 hours or however long it was.
Is there a moment in this movie where you actually like uncoiled and thought, oh, they've got it? Like, is there something to you that like actually brought that out of you and you're like, I'm sold, they've done it?
A couple of times. By the way, I don't want this whole podcast.
But that's such a profound reaction. I'm just like, is there a time?
Still can't get over his dad. But what a good question. You know what it kind of really was? Man, I didn't think Cornsweet would have it.
He really does.
I didn't believe it, man. Going into it, there was a lot in the trailers here, but then the trailers didn't really give us the story that we were getting at all, right? And it just watching Cornsweet, it really was the scene between Lois and like he's out of the suit.
Yeah.
But I'm watching him kind of be Clark. There's a very passionate, which you don't really get to see Lois and Clark like that.
No.
Like these two people are going to fuck, right?
Yeah.
There's a
They're making out in that kiss.
A very
going crazy.
Passionate kiss between them. And then he's just a strong dude that don't know what the fuck he trying to do, that's trying to do the best he can and still has something to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I was like, oh, like I'm buying him as Superman. He kind of works.
So the thing that I think I'm still struggling with the movie, where I was just like, I ended up being way more fascinated by the Superman elements of this movie rather than, like, I thought the DCU elements were really good, but I was like, Rachel Brosnahan was so good at Lois.
She's wonderful.
Where there was moments where I'm just like, wait, what the fuck? Where's Lois? Like I was like the world, the characters, Ma and Pa, Crypto. There were moments where I'm like, oh, I want more scenes of Superman trying to train Crypto. I want more scenes of Clark and Lois, of Superman and Lois. And I get.
You mean, Chuck, that there were too many characters in this movie? Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, Superman and Friends. I think they did a good job with giving Lois stuff to do. And like she wasn't just like a damsel in distress. But yeah, it was bogged down by a lot of characters. Raj says Zack Snyder's Batman is way better than Christopher Nolan's Batman. And I stand on that. You put Affleck's Batman against Ledger's Joker. That's a masterpiece cinematic experience. No. Batfleck would have killed Joker. Again, like we just talked about this, like Batfleck took a barrel in a warehouse and threw it up against a dude against a brick wall. I mean, he literally picked up dudes and crunched their neck into the floor. Like, that Joker would have died. Especially if he was bluffing about the bombs on his... No, it wouldn't have worked. Now, the crazy thing is, it seems like the Joker, the Jared Leto Joker, had killed Robin. Probably Jason Todd, and Batman still let that dude walk around. So, I mean, that was a story that I needed more too, which was so unfortunate. But I mean, we're talking about two different eras of Batman. Like Batman Begins is literally Batman year 1. So The Dark Knight is like year 3. Like by the time we get to Batfleck, he's been doing this for 20 years. Like this is Dark Knight Returns. Like this is a completely different Batman. I get that you mean like actors and powerhouse, but it's like two different tones completely. And I'm not saying that. Yes, it would have been fantastic to see a Joker go up against Batfleck, but though it's two different things. Two different things. It would have been a short movie, but a great movie. I'll give you one better. I'll give you one better. I'll give you one better. Yeah. I'll give you one better. Forget everything else that I told you to go watch. This is the Batman Superman movie that I grew up on. Okay? Again, I like Superman when he's going against Batman. This, to me, this is a classic. Okay, you want that Batfleck versus the Heath Ledger Joker? Watch this movie. Then watch Mask of the Phantasm. Then watch whatever else I told you to watch. This is it. So I don't need to see it. I already got it. Like this is it right here. Yeah, I mean, but that's how iconic Heath Ledger was as a Joker. Like you would love to see him go up against any Batman. My dad's point of this movie, not the Batman Superman movie, of this Superman movie 2025 that came out. He said that Lex was good, but he wasn't Joker enough, and he felt like until they're willing to go there with Superman, he doesn't think that Superman will be great. But yeah, like you know when you put Batman versus Superman, when you put Batman versus Joker together, like that's magic, and you don't always get that with Superman versus Lex. So, but yeah, and you want to talk about Lois in this movie? Ah, man, yeah. I think having Lex and Joker both in this movie also is really like what made it stand out. Way better than the Lex in BVS. Anyway.
Like, and that was the where I was struggling was like Mr. Terrific. I think there's actually
Okay, sorry, I'm just making sure I get it back. Seemed like the stream was buffering.
perfect Superman movie in this.
And that's, I think, the biggest like friction point I'll have with this movie, because I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm going to see it again, and I'm probably going to have an even better time the second time. But I feel like there's moments of brilliance in here, and there's a lot of, I think, over enthusiasm on the part of James Gunn to open this world up and like show us all of these amazing and insightful things, when you have something amazing in a bit more of a smaller story with Superman, Clark, Lois, Jimmy, everything at the Daily Planet.
And that was something I was worried about every time we talked about this movie and the trailers, and we would like, does this movie have too much going on? Does it have a lot?
Mm-hmm.
I think there is just a tad bit of too much dip on the chip for James Gunn. But to Charles's point, the Superman, the character interactions, especially with Lois and his parents and Jimmy
was fantastic.
It is, dare I say, perfect.
Jimmy was good.
I left
really
the
good.
movie going, I need, like, if I have to see Corn Sweat as Superman all the time, I want to see, if he's there, I want to see Lois there. I want to see Jimmy there. I want to see his parents there. I want to, Perry White, everybody.
Yo, shout out to Mom and Pa Kent, bro. That was a good choice on Gunn's part, casting them. That very, very authentic.
I want a Superman. I'll put it. I want a Superman 2 more than I left wanting a Justice League movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I think is a win.
Like Corn Sweat as Clark Kent and Superman delivers it in ways that I frankly am still like, oh my God, I cannot believe that we are living at this time to get this Superman. I thought we were past this. I did not think a Superman, again, kind of corny at some points, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, you're killing it. The second post-credit scene, if you stayed that long, kind of a nothing burger. But him and Mr. Terrific have this little thing about a building. Mr. Terrific's walking away. He's like, golly, man, I should stop being a jerk. And that sounds nuts when you like hear me say it. When he does it, it feels earnest. It feels real. He's just like, oh man, I made my friend upset. Like that is something I did not think we would ever see in Superman again. And the fact that not only did they do it, but it did in a way that feels like real and passionate. I'm in love. I need to see that guy as Superman forever. I agree.
All right, bro, chill out.
I
get it, but relax. Like, Relax. It is not that serious, Jomi. Relax. Jeez. Maybe it would be cool like if it was like a first season and then not just a movie. I get it, but like relax. And then like you never seen Superman before.
Understand the take, should I say? I don't think he trusts. What I will say is this is a movie to me that's indicative of the fact that maybe James Gunn doesn't trust the audience
No.
as much. And let me tell you why I'm saying that. Everybody got it in doses. Everyone. There was way more Mr. Terrific in the movie than I thought that there would be.
Yeah, shocked at how much there was in this.
Fantastic.
Okay, they brought him Mr. Terrific. So now I don't have like a character in Invincible that directly has like the same relationship that Superman has with Mr. Terrific, which Mark would have with another male character. But to me, the Darkwing character, the first Darkwing character in Invincible, is probably the closest to Mr. Terrific. Like I know seeing him, it's like he's like Batman, but like also like rewatching some stuff, like him with the flying hoverboard and the tech and some of the stuff that he got going on. It's very Mr. Terrific-esque. So that's my comp. Now, you know, unfortunately, that Darkwing doesn't stick around forever, but that's my comp for Invincible. But I think in this movie, Mr. Terrific has a better relationship with everybody. And I think like Vice, like Guy Gardner, you know, you don't have to stroke his ego for him to work with you.
Right. But do you know why I think there was way more Mr. Terrific in the movie, and why maybe you had a little bit more leeway with that?
Because they need a black
Eddie was great.
Yes.
Eddie was fantastic as Mr. Terrific. But you know what? We don't know him.
Yeah.
So whatever's on the screen with Mr. Terrific, we're not going, hey, this reminds me of this other Mr. Terrific, or this reminds me of this, or this reminds me. We don't know him.
Okay. So for you, maybe. But in the Arrowverse, I think he was on the Flash actually. Now that's another thing that I think there's two different Mr. Terrifics, and I think this version of Mr. Terrific was the second Terrific, whereas in the Arrowverse, I think this was the first Mr. Terrific. And I'm not saying that you're gonna like love this character. I'm just saying like I at least have seen him in other projects working with other characters. And I personally still don't like this red and black with the white, but that's just me. That's just me. That's just me. This looks cooler. But I am glad that he is in the movie because you know what? I'm going to make a crazy take. Is Mr. Terrific in this movie the magical Negro? He keeps everybody together. He ultimately saves the day. And he's there when all the other folks need him. Yes, he's a tech genius and but but more importantly, he's a magical Negro. And that sucks thinking about it that way. And I'm going to sleep on that, and I'm really going to think about that. But he really might just be the magical Negro. Raj says, Van does have a point. Most people like me aren't familiar with the comic book versions of Mr. Terrific. He is a blank slate on the film to me, and I'm sure other newbies to his character. Oh, I agree. So much so that I was watching a review of this movie, and the people kept calling him everything but Mr. Terrific. And it makes sense why Mr. Terrific had to say that he was Mr. Terrific. Say it loud and proud, but man, now I'm really on this whole like magical Negro tip. That's so unfortunate.
So whatever he does with Mr. Terrific, and James Gunn loves playing with new toys.
Yeah.
Whatever he does with Mr. Terrific is new, is fresh. You've never seen him in combat. You've never seen him work a problem out. You've never seen him do any of that stuff. With Lois, Lex, and really Guy Gardner's kind of the same way in that situation. Yeah. Like you've never seen kind of with Lois, Lex, Superman, and Jimmy, you get those characters almost always situational.
Yeah.
Problem solving, figure something out. He is orienting a world around them.
Yeah.
And he was able to do that with Superman.
That voice did not help the magical Negro allegations either. Exactly. And I was literally just thinking that.
And make Superman interesting because of the external pressures that were happening to Superman. Mm-hmm. He was also able to do that with Jimmy Olsen because of the external pressures that were happening to Jimmy. And that's an inverse of the way we've looked at the characters in the past. Everything in the past has been, this is what Lois wants. This is what Superman wants. We never gave a fuck about Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. He was just, they was in Batman vs Superman. They shot him within like the first.
Yeah, we never like, you know what
but
I mean?
Even think about how, bringing up that, like, Snyder fucking kills Jimmy Olsen. Like, think about how much, like, what we want from these comic books have changed in that James Gunn is like, no, like, Jimmy's going to be in this fucking movie. Right. Krypto's going to be in this movie. I'm going to convince you that, and I think, obviously, this is so indebted to what Grant Morrison did with All-Star Superman. This movie is James Gunn saying, how do I wrap my arms around every single part of this mythology?
Right. And so it's funny you bring up All-Star Superman because like that's one of the runs that inspired it. Kingdom Come is another one. What happened to the Man of Tomorrow?
Thank you. Kingdom Come. Yes. Come on, bro. I'm not even a Superman fan and I know what I'm talking about. Yes. Come on, bro. Yo, y'all got to give me credit for real. Like, I don't even be asking y'all for much, but y'all really, come on, bro. Look at that. That was with nobody explaining this to me. Look at this. Look, your boy be knowing. That's Brandon Routh. Like Kingdom Come. Come on, bro. Your boy be knowing. Kingdom Come Superman. That's when, like, the world went to hell. That was like injustice before injustice.
Yeah. and Superman
This
for all
movie has
seasons.
absolutely nothing to do with Kingdom.
Yeah, Kingdom
No,
comes a lot.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that that's not true. I'm just saying that,
It's-
like,
yeah.
maybe
Really
the
do, bro.
look of the character.
No. I
But
think
yeah.
what it is Superman. It's the larger world,
Yeah.
right? It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
larger.
You know what? That
Yo,
is a
I
great
do
point.
in terms of just like
That is a great
yes.
point. That is a great
It's
point.
the
Just
larger world.
and all
Superman's
these
character.
heroes
You know
being
what?
in this world and being here
Great
forever.
point, Jomi.
And
yeah.
like what happens to the Man of Tomorrow? You talk about Perry White and Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane, like those are characters. Like in that particular comic, Superman has to like take all his friends and family and put them in the Fortress of Solitude for like this siege against Brainiac and Lewis. It's a whole thing, but essentially it's him wrapping his arms around the people he cares about the most. I think that's like when I was rereading the comics to prepare for the movie, and I'm seeing him think about Lois, think about Jimmy, think about his parents in ways that like I want to protect these people, not only just the people of Metropolis, but I also have a particular affection for these people.
Okay, I think that's unfair. Not what Jomi is saying. I agree with what he's saying, but that goes back to my whole point with Superman not seeding his royal oats. Like, there's billions of people on the planet, and Superman is an outsider. And yes, this small group of people make him feel human, but there's so many other people in the world that he could have relationships with, as Clark Kent or as Superman. Like billions, like to make him really appreciate humanity even more. I mean, this dude can literally be in like different parts of the world like so quickly. Like, he could literally be, at least each day he could spend a whole nother, like, he could be like with a whole nother group of friends in a whole nother part of the world each day of the week. And this dude he narrows himself down to Kansas and Metropolis. I mean, this is a world where this is an Earth where Wonder Woman is on. And you're gonna narrow yourself down to like a small island of people? That's whack to me, bro.
Want them to be safe. I'm thinking I can see where James Gunn is coming from. I can see it. I can feel it in the movie. And so he takes like those elements from the page to the screen in a way that, again, I'm just like really, really, really impressed.
Yeah. I mean, there's even a moment I will say that's like, it's so small, but it's so genius, where you have to think about where Superman and Lois's relationship is at. When Lois is like, "You have a dog," it's such a human moment where it's just like, oh, that is how relationships go. Where it's like,
That's
oh,
true.
this is a Lois that's never met Ma and Pa. She doesn't really know where he's come
They've
from.
only been dating for like 3 months. At that
Yeah,
point?
they've only been dating for, and it's like, it's so interesting to see Lois at.
I'm glad they brought that up. The whole "you never met Ma and Pa." 2 points to that. This is how insignificant this is. Lois brings Clark back to the Kent farm so that he could be healed up. Side note, why didn't they leave him outside so that he could be closer to the sun instead of being in the house and having to fight sun rays like through the whatever? But she was there, and they didn't show her establishing any type of relationship with them. You know, she wasn't like talking to the ma in the kitchen, drinking coffee or whatever, or, you know, or Pa outside on the porch. So much so that in the first real important moment, Lois gets a phone call, and the first thing she does is she leaves. Oh, like her boyfriend is dying, and she's like, "Yeah, but I gotta go get on this helicopter real quick and leave." And leave my dead boyfriend here with his parents. And then 2, they didn't even know the girl's name. They called her out her name. They called her the wrong name. I forgot what they said, but it wasn't Lois. It was something. And then they just laughed about it with Clark. So you finally get to meet the parents, and this is how you treat meeting the parents. We're not together anymore. We're not together anymore. It completely shows how fundamentally different Metropolis Girl is compared to his family. But I'm not a Superman fan, so I don't care. But I think that was grounds to break up anyway.
This point being like, I'm about to break up with Superman and realizing like, oh, I don't actually know Clark. I don't know who this guy is.
You don't know Clark.
Like,
you
I
know
understand
Superman.
who he is as a human, but I don't understand his roots. And I was like, oh, that's really smart for James Gunn to kind of like hone in on the fact that even this version of Superman isn't trusting people to know that like, oh, I come from Smallville. I come from this place and I was raised by these people. And like, I want to ask you guys about this, like mythology-wise. I was just like, story-wise, it worked. I was like, it's very bold, though, to change the Jor-El shit. I still feel a little like, it's such a major shit.
So there's two things. There's two things.
Let's hear Steve on this real quick. He's been sitting there like a white man.
Like, this kind of gets to where like the broader plot of the movie is kind of a head scratcher for me, because again, a lot's going on, but I think the overarching plot of like Lex wants to find ways to get the rest of the world to distrust Superman so that he can have carte blanche to kill him. That's pretty much Lex's whole deal. So when it comes to the message that his parents leave him, and they uncover the rest of it because of the engineer, and they're like, oh well, clearly his parents just said take over Earth, develop a secret harem, which was very funny.
Hashtag secret harem.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, so that's clearly fake. They're just making that up. That's part of Lex's narrative. I thought that that's just part of Lex's narrative to be like, hey, you're just twisting the words of what this alien language that nobody knows what it is, but all of the linguists in the world say.
Took them 15 minutes.
Yeah, it took them 15 minutes to decipher this made-up language to say, okay, conquer Earth, like recreate and become a ruler. I think that like conveying that for the rest of the world in like news clips and people looking at their phones is a kind of a tough thing to sell, but like that's kind of like the hard thing about like modern movie making to expedite that process. I was really like, okay, are they actually retconning this message, or is this like part of the misinformation?
Bro, I said them joking on Steve never gets old. He has a good sport about it. Yeah, like when grown folks is talking, don't interrupt them. But I think it also gives him a chance to like sit back and kind of like marinate on his point a little bit. But when he talks, he always makes great points. Now this whole like thing, and I'm glad Steve is kind of bringing this up with the whole like, what is it true? Is it not true? Like, is Lex making it up? I just watched an interview of James Gunn, and somebody just like asked him like, yo, like, was that real or not? And James Gunn was like, he tripled down on it in the movie. Like 3 different people had like reiterated the fact that translation was true. And he couldn't believe that people questioned it. So it doesn't surprise me that, you know, Steve is watching the movie and he's still thinking like, wait, is that really real? But I guess Mr. Terrific did it. I guess Lex had did it. Somebody else had did it. Saying that, no, that I think maybe the robot, I don't know. A third person had tripled down and said that was true.
Campaign that Lex has against Superman.
I mean, to be real with you, I had that thought all the way to the point to where I was like, oh shit, that's really what was in there.
Yeah.
First of all, that is so you're right. Like,
yeah.
That is an incredibly bold choice. There were going to have to be some bold choices, right?
Right.
Like, there were going to have to be some bold choices. He was going to have to make the character his own in some kind of way. I think
Bradley Cooper being Jor-El is bold enough.
I think it makes sense for 2 reasons. One, the Superman story isn't perfect. And aliens sending a being to another planet, knowing that he's going to be superpowered, and not saying continue on our lineage and legacy, kind of doesn't make any sense.
I mean, they could just, hey man, we're gonna save you. Hopefully you land somewhere where you can make it work.
Yeah, well, we love you, son.
But
That's it.
What's happened as the story is going on? This is one reason why the Viltrumites or whatever, it's so ripe to be actually discussed, is because, you know. And by the way, I'm not saying that the old stories don't make sense or whatever. I
So you I thought you would have hated the choice. You're the Superman.
Really? You love that choice?
Loved it. I'll tell you, because I'm not against playing with the character. All my favorite contemporary iterations of Superman have played with the character a little bit. Like even Superman and Lois plays with Lex Luthor and all of that stuff. It plays with the character a little bit. I don't mind that. I'm not a purist, as it comes to Superman. I'm a traditionalist, and those two things are a little different. Yeah. So like the reason why that's so fertile for somebody to do a take on it is because that's, Jor-El works for the government.
Yeah,
so he might be a little cynical in what his superpower son could do on a new planet, and he might also be scared for him when he goes to the new planet. My favorite part of Man of Steel is when Laura says to Jor-El, when he gets there, they're gonna kill him, and he goes, "How?" I don't know if you're looking at the readouts. But essentially, which is something that's really interesting. Essentially, what he did with Jor-El in this movie is the tension between Jor-El and Zod in the first movie. Jor-El he bridges those characters and kind of melds them together. I thought it was very bold, but I also thought what he did at the end of the movie was even more subversive to Superman, because he basically says at the end of the movie that really Jor-El and Lara, they're not even your parents. That scene.
Jummy be tripping and reacting way too New Christian.
The end, because Jor-El is a ghost that exists with this AI sentience that
ghost in the machine.
Parents, Superman, that actually was like, hey man, get rid of. They're not really even your parents. Your parents are them people right there. Right. That to me was a much bigger swing. And so I was like, wow.
I hated that. I hated Jor-El. I hated it. But I understand the point. Understand the point. The movie starts and it's like this soothing message for your parents. And it's Jor-El and the mom. And at the end, it's, again, the whole movie is trying to tell you that Superman is human.
He's a human.
He is one of us. This person. So when at the end, the robots are like, play the message of his parents, it soothes them. It's not Jor-El anymore. It's Mom, Pa, Kent. And that, I understand why James Gunn would do that. I completely get it. But we're like, yeah, man, Jor-El, the guy who, for basically 100 years in comics, is like, I'm sending my son to save his life, and to make sure that we can live on. Go be a hero. Go help people. It's actually go have kids, as many kids as you can, and take over this world. It's crazy. It's nuts. I don't really love it. No, I get it. I understand.
I get it.
I want to piggyback off of that because I also kind of hated that, and I think that the only reason that I would have loved it is because of my biggest problem with this movie, and I think that the Kents are very underserved in this movie. Because whenever we encounter them, when we first see them in this movie, I genuinely thought they were dumb. And I get that they're simple people, and I get that they're not.
You know why you thought they were dumb?
The white dude saying that he thought the white people in the movie were written dumb. It's crazy.
Because they couldn't work a phone?
No, because
Blue City Boy?
No. You thought they were dumb because of a decision that he made. Because those people have Southern American accents. Which they never have.
No.
Hold on. Which they never have.
They're from Kansas?
Huh?
They're from Kansas?
Go ahead, Midwest dude. Go ahead. Speak up for your peoples.
They're supposed to have a Midwestern accent?
A Midwestern accent, whatever. They have Mid-South, however you want to put it, Midwestern accents. In all of the other movies that you get them, you get, and I'm not saying that people from Kansas like talk
That's
exactly
kinda what
like
you
the kids do, but what I'm saying is, in every other movie you get
Hey, he said it, not me.
them, they easternize those people.
I get it.
To where they're a little bit more contemporary and a little bit more savvy and wise. You got Gregory Peck playing John Kent. You got Kevin Costner playing John Kent. And it's because they made them a little bit more simple, they seem dumb, but they, like
and like if I can just translate that, when we have like when they fly him back to Kansas and we fully meet the Kents and they're talking to Lois, and we have a very like good and affecting scene with Pa Kent and Clark on the porch talking about like parents aren't supposed to tell their kids what they are, like all these things. Like I didn't exactly need like a Kevin Costner level stoicism to be like, no, don't save me from a tornado. But I really would have thought that I'm like, how did these parents raise that?
Yeah, I just noticed they're not drinking out of their cups, their corporate cups that they had before. They got the product placement on the table. This was not Steve's best moment, and I'll leave it at that. Rural Kansas folk do have an accent, but it's slightly different from what we heard in the movie. All right, bro. Hey, defend your people.
And
what do you mean?
Like there's a disconnect from like that level of parentage to the kid that they grow up with. I get that that's a level of safety and a level of, I guess, like emotional comfort from his parents, but I feel.
Can I just, as a short person, can I just point something out? My man got his leg crossed over, then his foot diagonal resting on the table. Why didn't he just rest his foot on the table? I mean, is that a long leg person thing? Like, why? That's insane, bro. Just rest your foot on the table like that. What ergonomically is bad for your foot and ankle? Like, you about to go see a podiatrist soon. Sorry.
Like if they were a bit more like either fleshed out or
they raise someone. They raise someone who is blissfully unaware at the start of this movie of his place in the world. Who literally is simple.
Yeah.
Like he literally goes. Lois is telling Superman. Like Lois is telling Superman, hey, this is what you did. You went into a foreign government and grabbed their leader,
tortured him,
interrogated him in the desert.
You, as a citizen of the United States, kinda, right? Like you went on foreign soil and you did that. And Superman's response was, people were gonna die. Like I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Like what are you talking about? He can't understand the complexity of that situation because he was raised by simple people on a farm in Kansas.
That to me was my least favorite thread of the movie, which was just like, what should Superman do in world conflicts? Because when Lois and Clark are having the conversation, at first I'm like, yeah, Lois has the point. Like, just like this farm boy has not thought this through. He's like his morality and the way he was raised, and just the idea that like, no, I can save people. Like, I should do it. I was like, no, that's interesting. But I feel like by the end of the movie, they land on, you know what? Not only should Superman be able to go stop these conflicts, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, and Hawkgirl also. Like, Hawkgirl, like, here's the thing. Yeah, kill dictators, whatever. It was just more so I was just like, I don't know if the movie really knew what it wanted to say about that, almost, because it was just like, the movie starts with Lois being like, hey, you need to think about your role in this and what it will do to the world. And by the end of it, I'm just like, I don't know if I want the Justice Gang. Like,
the Justice Gang. Yeah.
Congrats
to make the team, Justice Gang.
Like, I don't know if I feel like Guy Gardner is the person I want to be like, hell no. Hey, yo.
Are you a Sokovia Accords defender?
Oh, did you sign it?
Whoa. Are you a Sokovia Accords defender? You want to give Donald Trump control of the Avengers?
All right. It's the UN. Hold on.
So can I ask
you? You want to give
based on where Superman was raised? I would just need to know. Hey, yo,
Who'd you vote for?
Who'd you vote for, son? Like, well, I mean, because here's the thing, he raised his voice a little too loud at Lois when she was just like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, Lois."
I love, and by the way, again, I don't want to harp on that scene, but it's the best scene in the movie, and I was shocked at how well, like, that's some of the best writing James Gunn's ever done. But when they have this like imaginary third person, which is the microphone, and like he finds the button, and he's just and Lois is like, "How do you think this is going?" And she's like, "I think I'm doing a great job."
I don't like is the movie at the end basically being like, no, Clark's worldview is correct. We all need to be more like the simple farm boy who thinks that, yeah, fuck governments, fuck geopolitical shit. If I'm a superhero, if you're a superhero, you owe it to cross all borders and stop conflicts. Because I was just like, no, I think that's a very like.
But Charles, people are going to die. Like that's it. And so whether the movie makes that point in favor of Superman or against it, I think ultimately is not the issue. Or it's more of like doing the right thing to protect people who can't protect themselves in front of anything. That's ultimately where it comes down to. If people are going to die and you have the opportunity, basically the same thing we've talked about since Uncle Ben died. With great power comes great responsibility. If you have the chance to stop somebody from getting hurt and you don't do it, then you don't deserve the power. You don't deserve to be supposed to be.
I would just, the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm like, oh, that's like a very, very like thorny subject to make your like B or C plot. Because I was just like, at one point, there was the goofy part of the movie that I thought was like when the U.S. government was just like, "Hey, yo, Lex, we kind of feel you, but we can't trust you because you're giving arms to the government." I mean, reality, I'm just like, the U.S. government.
I thought about something earlier with like Lex and Ultraman, and now I have kind of like 2 points of that. Well, no, technically Lex did. He tried to shop around his people. MIDWATCH. He did try to shop them around to the government. So, yeah. So like a Tony Stark, evil Tony Stark thing. Also, the point that I had to make that I was thinking about earlier is, I guess he didn't want to reveal his hand, but what if to ruin Superman, Lex had sent out dumb Superman dressed up just like Superman and had him doing like bad stuff. So that like evil clone type thing to make it seem like Superman be wilding. Especially like in other countries. Like it'd be like, oh, in America, he's a good old boy, but he be like doing crazy stuff in other countries, like throwing women off of buildings and, you know, freezing babies with his cold breath. Because I mean, if his whole, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it made it seem like Lex wanted to like kill Superman, but then when he had him, he didn't kill him. Whereas he wanted to ruin him in his image. And the best thing that he, especially once he had Superman like locked away, he could have had like bad Superman doing crazy stuff. It made it just seem like, yeah, Superman needed to be stopped. I don't know, but I'm not an evil genius, so.
You move from the screen to the invisible camera, like, man.
Yeah, that's the Jim Halpert stares in the camera. Like,
I'm like, it's the U.S. government, because like the movie, because like basically what I was wondering is, I'm just like, the U.S. government, to me, obviously Superman doesn't trust them, but the U.S. government is also smart enough to be like, we don't want to destabilize this country, Lex. We don't want to hand it over to you. And I'm like, which one is it? You know.
The only thing I'll say is the stuff that happens at the end of the movie with the battle, like a lot of that happens after Lex's connection to the country has been exposed.
Yeah, like reported out by Lois and Jimmy.
Right. So everybody has the information that there's some type of thing that's happened. That doesn't change the legality of it.
Right.
But it might change the thrust of the Justice Gang getting involved, or anybody else getting involved, because now we know that there is something working between these forces that is going to immiserate all of these people. And if we don't stop it, it's for nothing. The war, because part of the conversation between Lois and Superman was Superman telling Lois that I know that these people have changed and that our allies are wrong in this situation. I know. And Lois is saying, well, I mean, it's good that you know, but not everybody else knows. These people are traditionally our allies, and this country is traditionally not our allies. And so afterwards, the only thing that's different about the superheroes getting involved is that they've now at least armed the world with the knowledge to understand the situation, and everybody has an idea of what's happening. That's the only difference. That plot, though, the Baravia, all of that stuff, that is the most heady part of the movie.
Right.
That has the most to do, and it works, but just barely. Like it works, but just barely. All of that different stuff. That's when James Gunn, this is one of his best scripts, but that is when the movie is doing the most.
It's there's a lot, and like that ending is like, it feels like just a lot of things being thrown onto a pile, and if you can catch it, great, and if it works, even better. I just feel like I just wish that like that climax of the movie had slowed down a little bit, because by the end it almost felt like laughably too much. In some instances, again, like a lot of it is fun. I had a great time with it still, but there's still a couple of too many cooks in that kitchen of like things that should be going on for all these other things to like. It could have been a lot simpler. I have one big question for you though, Chuck. Is Jimmy Olsen the biggest supervillain in Metropolis?
Supervillain?
I was surprised they kept some of the Jimmy shit where I'm like, damn, Jimmy, you almost getting my sister fucking killed. You
But he didn't know
on
that was
her,
gonna
you
happen.
lying to get. I'm like that.
Hey, Jimmy's a player, but he didn't know that she would have been killed, one, and two, she was the one playing with fire. She was the one trying to meet my man in the back alley where there were no cameras. She was wilding. And they made it a point to call her Mutant Toes, boy. So it's probably something really going on with her that, that people aren't really picking up on. Like, she might be a metahuman or something. She probably got webbed toes. We don't know what it looked like. So it wasn't that he didn't like her or that she was annoying. He literally had her in the phone as something toes, mutant toes, not web toes, mutant toes. And then she brings up the whole toes thing. And I'm not saying Jimmy got a foot fetish. All I'm saying is there was something off-putting about her that he didn't like. But she was the one sneaking out to go see him. So don't blame him, blame her.
That's not real journalism to me. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying it's bad journalism?
It's bad journalism.
I can tell you with 100% certainty that is the way that it is done.
All right. Shout out to Raj again. I'm gonna skip the whole journalism thing.
For I think since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but there were some of the fight scenes, some of them worked, but some of them did feel a little bit like this is.
I think, and part of that is the villain. Like, Lex is the big villain, but the villain that Superman has to punch. And I was not vibing with it. I'm not going to lie to you.
The Ultraman reveal was terrible.
Well, it's not because it's not.
That was my least favorite part of the movie.
Because it's not really revealed. Because at least for
Okay, wait, time out. When you were watching the movie and you knew it was about to get up to the point where they were going to reveal who Ultraman was, did you want it to be Henry Cavill? I'm going to put that in the chat.
us, people who have read comics and know this stuff, like pretty much from the back of our hand, as soon as he walks up to the Fortress of Solitude and it opens,
then it just opens, and you're like,
and we're
oh,
like,
okay, all right,
that's
we know
a clone of
what's up.
Superman. Yeah, not that's never been done before, but for them to like, hey man, it's Ultraman, y'all don't know.
But also, some people thought that Ultraman was going to be, could have been Supergirl, because we didn't know like what context she was going to be in this movie. So
who that is like we do. Well, once again, remember,
it's us.
We got to sell this to
us.
everybody.
We
right.
we knew the Ultraman part. For a second, I thought it was going to be Bizarro. I was glad they didn't do that. But
I don't more interesting. That'll be more interesting.
I was like, I thought it was going to be Connor Kent. Like I thought Lex was going to be like,
hold on now.
That's half my DNA.
Yeah.
I thought it was either going to be Bizarro.
Oh, Bizarro.
I thought maybe it would have been like a different universe's Superman, because Ultraman is from
Once you got Lex doing pocket dimension shit, I'm like, everything's on the table.
That makes even more sense for it to be Henry Cavill.
Like you could do anything,
but you're in your third act. So if
you can't introduce a new character like that.
But I don't think Ultraman, the engineer, like I think Lex was so good. I thought Ultraman, the Raptors, the engineer were like the weakest parts of this movie.
Right.
Well, so I mean, Ultraman has to. They're the weakest parts, but like it's interesting. They're not even parts of the. Yeah, they're weakest parts. They're in the movie for like 5 scenes. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so when you say if Lex Luthor works, his minions don't matter.
Not
like it really, and we.
Van is flabbergasted. He couldn't even get his thoughts together.
If Lex Luthor works, right? If like the guy that plays Otis, I didn't even realize he was Otis until the end of the movie, and that was kind of cool that it was Otis real. But if Lex Luthor works, his minions don't matter, because like all of those people are kind of there to serve whatever purpose that he has.
Right.
That reveal didn't work for me, just because it didn't. Not that it didn't work, but it was my least favorite part, just because visually it looked crazy.
It looked
visually, he had the longer hair. He was like basically. So just visually, it looked crazy.
I think for me, the thing that it's mad funny is that, spoilers for the Boys comic, Black Noir in the Boys comic is a clone of Homelander, sent to is there to keep him in check, right, in case he goes rogue or anything.
Oh, see, I was talking about Invincible. I didn't even bring up the Boys
thing. And when they're making the show, they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're getting rid of that. And Superman was like, hey, guess what?
We'll take it.
We're going to do it. We can put him in all black. He's not going to talk. And at the end,
I just need more, though. Like, because I needed just a little bit more. I'm like, if you're going to do Ultraman, to make him quite literally just a clone, voiceless, doesn't say anything.
I also want to point out, since I was talking about Invincible, don't forget last season Mark had to fight he didn't fight him, but there were a plethora of other like alternate Marks from all the other universes. So that's what I had in my notes as a relatable to Invincible, the other Marks.
Don't do anything, sauceless. It almost did just feel like I'm like, oh, you guys did need something for Superman.
I actually don't mind the fact that it's like the clone reveal. Like that's not to me a problem. Because at that point, it's just a hat on a hat where, like, okay, we've already seen a CGI digital river going into a black hole. I can believe a clone of Superman exists. It's more of the fact that, like, it's played as, like, the third biggest thing that I could do as an evil villain, Lex Luthor. When I'm like, yes, of course, it was easy for me to clone you from a strand of your hair from this one battle. And I'm like,
he did
okay.
He made a pocket of bench. I don't think it's that
Yeah,
crazy.
I was like, who cares? I was like,
yeah, I don't think the movie, again, I don't think the movie even plays it that big to something that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't play like, oh my gosh, it's a clone Superman. But even still, it's like, all right, that even if you didn't hype it up that much, it's still kind of lame, which I think is weirder. I think the thing that, again, I bump up against is the movie starts with him fighting the Hammer of Baravia, right? And it's like, it's Ultraman in a robot costume. I'm like, oh, you could paint that green and purple.
I thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah. I think I would have enjoyed that more. I feel like
I think that would have looked crazy.
That would have looked crazy
with Luthor and you were
in the suit.
But
that would look crazy.
But to me, that takes away the most interesting part. We can talk about Lex Luthor now, of the Lex Luthor character, and something that they did differently here is we normally get, in film at least, a Lex Luthor who is getting familiar with Superman. The only thing he really knows, it's a mystery. Like where is he from? Blah, blah, blah. But we know that his weakness is kryptonite. We know that much about him.
Mm-hmm.
This Lex Luthor knows everything about him in terms of maybe not his back.
And to me, that was the weakest part, because it's like, bro, you've only been around 3 years, and Lois knows everything about you. Lex knows everything about you. The journalists know everything about you. The Guy Gardner character knows everything about you. Like, what are we doing? Maybe he wasn't ready to lead the camp farm.
Story, but the way he fights, to the point to where I thought it was brilliant to have Lex Luthor beating Superman legitimately with his mind.
Yes.
Like when they're in combat and he's got all of the people and he's yelling out
13L,
13L,
17B.
He's put the things in his lungs.
It's the Lex Luthor versus Superman, brain versus brawn is always, except for when Lex is in the war suit. It's always Lex's scheme versus Superman's strength. But that was a part of it. But Lex Luthor was legitimately beating Superman up with his brain. Like, I know what you're going to do. I know and I'm whooping your ass like I'm playing a video game with it. And so that to me was like a super, like the moment that happened on screen, the moment that I saw that happening on screen, I was like, oh, shit, that's interesting. He doesn't just want to beat him. He wants to fight him. He wants to fight him. And he really can't fight him unless he's inside of the war suit. Lex, Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor. How about it?
I thought he did a great job.
Loved it.
I mean, people were saying, like, I got online after the movie, people were like, man, it's up there with Heath Ledger's Joker. Let's calm down.
All right.
Let's calm down. But he was really good. Like, again, he brings an intensity. Again, this is like partly a lot of Nicholas Hoult, but partly James Gunn. The scene where he's gonna like open the barrier or the portal again, because it might create a black hole, and that will get Superman here, and that's all that matters. That's what I have to do. I completely bought all of that. I bought his machinations that he really hated Superman. When you talk about him fighting with his brain, 1A.
Like that's the first move he wants to do.
That's real hate.
He just wants to punch the shit out of Superman
in his face.
And I bought it, and I felt that he hates this man. Again,
yeah, I mean, shout out to not only Mortal Kombat 3 days, but like Tekken. Anytime you had to like fight somebody like in the arcade with the joystick and the buttons, and you hitting the button trying to do the combos and stuff. Yeah, I mean that whole sequence was fire. I agree.
Does the same thing it does literally when Superman comes in, has a speech about being a human. He's like, I don't care. I hate you. Again, it's a little bit overserved, but again, it serves the purpose of this is a man who hates Superman with every single fiber in his being. And I thought he did a great job.
I thought Nicholas Hoult was really, really good. I think what I liked about this Lex Luthor is I thought it was very funny that it's like the whole movie is like this felt like a 6-arc comic book. This felt like, you know, the Superman TV show where Lex is kind of like, we got to distract Superman. What do we got?
Right. We got this little kaiju thing. It'll get bigger.
Like now I do think that, like you just said, hat on a hat. I think my issues with Lex was more so I was just like, oh, Lex is a character and Nicholas Holt's portrayal is working so well. It was just more so like Lex was almost like a repository for James Gunn to dump everything into, where I was just like, the monkeys and the pocket universe typing on the computers, a little bit too much dip on the chip, where I'm like, I get it, but I was like, I like Lex already. He's already kooky. The kaiju, a little much. Like
no. The kaiju's fine. The bot farm is too real. That's all right.
2 points. One, shout out to Steve for finally putting his feet on the table. I applaud that. Thank you. And 2, I thought that the kaiju, like I thought that whole like sequence was hilarious. But they're like, oh man, this thing is really small. And then it was like, nah. Don't worry, it'll get bigger. And then it was like huge. Like the next morning was crazy. That worked well. I didn't like, my issue again was the fact that it seemed like the Justice gang was doing more of the heavy lifting than Superman was. And yes, I get like Superman was trying to use his brain, but it was almost like Superman didn't have the brain. Lex had the brain. Mr. Terrific had the brain. Bro, you got the brawn. Just stick with the brawn. I really like Lex Luthor's K.Hate. That's hilarious. I hate the way you walk. I hate the way you talk. And he said it with his chest. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. 100%.
That's actually happening.
Let me tell you what I don't think what Gunn wanted to do. What he didn't want to do is give you a sparse Superman movie.
No, yeah.
He
also, remember I pointed out the monkeys. So the question is, did James Gunn, because I said this like 3 hours ago, you know, did James Gunn come with the movie or did The Simpsons come with the monkeys first? You be the judge.
You got a Superman in 2006 to where it's just very difficult to remember like what actually happens in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got another Superman that was like visually very appealing, but it just didn't seem like there was enough. It was just very muted in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to give you a lively Superman movie, and he just can't write 2 scenes in a row without making you laugh. It's just not a part. It's not a part of what he was doing.
I don't think that it like derailed the movie. I had a really, really good time. My question is like, was this movie though like too much? And when I say too much, where it was like, did James Gunn? Because you brought up, did James Gunn trust the audience? There was. Part of me was like, oh, did James Gunn trust himself enough that like I was like, yo, within all this messy, chaotic movie, there's there's a real simplistic, heartfelt story.
Yo, ironically, it's like the James Gunn cut needs to be like a condensed hour and 30-minute version of this. I agree with this. Like the complete opposite of the Snyder cut.
But like, there is a part of me where I'm like, I don't give a fuck what Superman thinks about social media.
And I think that we could have had a bit more. When I say that, like sometimes characters feel underserved, when you think he's a repository, what if we had gotten, because the character of Lex is actually like different. He doesn't really think of anybody as his equal, correct? Like he doesn't think of anybody as like somebody he can, no pun intended, let his hair down in front.
He's a narcissist,
yeah, he's a narcissist. If we had a bit more of a like Lex talking to or at someone that he thought was his equal or thought that he had a scene like him, like Clark and Lois, to not only challenge his like reasoning as to why he hates Superman so much, but why he dedicates his life to this. That isn't just him saying it to Superman or him saying it to somebody who he thinks is an idiot or his like ditzy girlfriend or whatever. Instead, it's just like this, supervillain monologuing. If there was a bit more of a humanistic approach as to why he's scared of him, does that help or does that hurt?
Fucking disagree. No. Like doing that with Lex Luthor is like explaining why Superman can fly. It's like either you believe it or you don't.
Sure.
Like, so it's like if you put Thanos on screen and it's a big purple guy that you ain't never seen before because you ain't never read them comics, you have to explain why he's doing what he's doing. If you either believe Superman can fly or he can't. Lex Luthor comes in there, kills Superman now. I'm the smartest motherfucker in the world. You're not better than me just because you can lift more. That's it. It's that simple. We've done this. We've done fucked up situation with the daddy. We've done like these people think that they're gods. We've done it. We've done it over and over and over. All Jesse Eisenberg did was talk. He talked, and at a certain point, it was like, God damn, Lex, we get it. Like you're not fucking with him. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like I understand. Like to me, there's got to be some of that, but that stuff has to be said to Superman.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Like it has to be said to him. Let me tell you why I don't fuck with you. Because really, like as is portrayed in the movie, a lot of times even Superman doesn't know. Superman is like, yo, what did I do to you, dog? Like, what's your thing? Like, what's your deal? Like, that has to be told, like, to Superman to me. And but and just getting back to it, once again, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to these things. But if we really, really have to have a scene in the movie of why Lex Luthor doesn't like Superman, then we have to do an origin story then. We have to make the film an origin story.
I don't think that's what I needed. I think the stuff about the movie that was like the too muchness just wasn't like the monsters and the.
Okay, to be fair, like I do get that like James Gunn wanted to like throw you in the middle of the story. And sometimes that works, but there was so much going on that like the story itself needed a backstory. Like how did Clark decide that he was going to move to Metropolis, and how did Perry White hire him, and how did he get Lois to fall for him, and how did Lois figure out that he was Superman? Did she find out on her own? Did he tell her? Did he just like show up at the house? Did he have to woo her? Was she in a relationship with somebody else before and he had to wait around like the cuck he is? Like, what is it that had to be done to get to where they were? Did they exchange keys? Does he just break into her house every like what? Like, dude don't even use X-ray vision. Like how did the bots come about? Did they come in his ship? Was his ship at Kemp Farms? Is a ship in the Fortress of Solitude? How did the cousin show up? What was that conversation like? Did she show up right after? Like, I just have so many questions. And not that I need a backstory, but I need like more of a setup to what this story is.
Villains or whatever. It was a little bit like, I think there is this push when anybody does Superman. This isn't a James Gunn thing. This is anyone, where I think the writers and the directors want to put their arms around every single societal ill that is affecting us at a certain time. So this movie wants to deal with like, I do think that there is a Palestine, Israel, Ukraine, Russia thing. There is like social media and what's that doing to our brains? The fucking press. There is like every single just like thing that like if Superman was real, what would he have to face is in this movie. And sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm like, this is almost distracting from the one central spine that I'm really, really interested. Because I'm like,
what was the one central spine, just so the audience can hear you? Like, what was the one central thing you were interested in?
I think the story of Superman basically like being at this inflection point in his superhero career where he's just like, I want people to consider me human and to trust in me, but there's no more trust in the world, is like the central spine.
Now, how do you tell that story without social media? It's impossible.
I think that
social media is the one thing in the movie you could not have.
Yeah.
You could have lost the kaiju, you could have lost all of that. You could have lost any of that stuff. The social media aspect of it, you could have lost the geopolitics. That was the one thing you had to have.
So and I think it is very, very like touchy at this moment where,
you know, would have been more interesting than having like a whole Justice gang. If you would have just had Guy Gardner, who was kind of like an outcast Green Lantern and had like, you know, wild out on social media and was kind of like shunned. And like that happened to Clark. And then he had to go find Guy Gardner, and Guy Gardner had to kind of like mentor him and help him kind of get back on track. Since social media was so important and like you wanted Guy Gardner to kind of be like an alternative personality, I think that would have been a way to like tie those two characters together without it being so congested.
You say this entire world, this like comic book world, is full of metahumans, but the only metahumans we really meet are American ones. And by the end of this movie, if like you're just following the track of what this the politics of the movie are saying, is essentially like American superheroes.
And to his point, the movie said that there have been metahumans for 3,000 years. Where the hell are all the other metahumans? And how come none of them are getting involved on a global scale?
Should have the power to intervene in these conflicts, which I'm just like, oh, okay, sure. And then I'm like,
and to that point, why does Lex only hate Superman and not hate all metahumans? Even rich ones like Guy Gardner.
Yeah, but if like you're putting in something that realistic, I'm like, usually the people who are destabilizing these countries or giving them weapons are Americans. So it is weird.
So there's a couple of things I'm gonna point out. One, Superman has tried, at least on screen, on film, he actually tried twice.
Nuclear disarmament, yeah.
He did nuclear disarmament, Superman 4, Quest for Peace. Then there was another version of Superman that went, enough. You guys are fighting too much, and let me take care of it. And that was the Injustice Superman.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the conversation with Lois was about the fact that he was acting a little bit more like the Injustice Superman than he thought that he was. Right. Mm-hmm. He thought it was a save.
Mm-hmm.
She thought it was an action. Right. So he's saying, hey, that's a save. Because Superman does saves, he does actions. Save is I move you out of the way of something. An action is I beat up the villain. He was telling her that was a save. I just went to where people were going to get hurt and I saved them. She goes, no, that's an action. She goes, there's a political happening, and you went and got involved. And when you take an action on foreign soil, there are a different set of standards that you have to adhere to. So it wasn't just a save. And the bad guy in this situation isn't just somebody that is robbing a bank. Even though, by the way, that's taking the law into your own hands as well, right?
But also, and Lois, they do a good job. Lois is even saying, like, because you are part of the conflict, there's a story on top, like under the story as reporters, where this guy from Baravia like you're just taking him at face value. And like I do think it's a strong part of the movie that it's Lois and it's Jimmy using journalism to be like, actually, how do we connect the plots of like Luther wanting to be king of Luthor and displace all these people and all that shit?
So, and that brings me to one distinction that the end of the movie tries to make through a story standpoint is this group of people is marching on this country. And those people then ask
Superman for Superman's help.
For Superman's help.
Yeah.
They put up a sign saying Superman. All right.
They chant.
They have agency in this, particularly after everything is known. They know that they're about to get ran over, and that's what Superman does. And by the way, like, yeah, he could probably take out all the arms and all the bad people over there, but really a part of the character and a part of most of these characters is intervening when all the other guardrails have fallen apart. Is like I expect you to follow the law and do good. I give you the choice to do that. But when it gets down to the get down and people are about to die, if you didn't have the ability to help out, or if all of that failed, now I have to get involved. We talk about Batman. We talk about the fact that Batman, the Dark Knight is a fantastic movie, right? Why not just kill the guy?
Let's go to Mr. Terrific, though.
Mr. Terrific and the whole secondary group of people. Go.
I was shocked at how much Mr. Terrific played a role in this movie.
I can make an argument that he was the true, and look, he
had the best fight scene in the movie.
I can make an argument that he was the true winner of the movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was the actual co-lead.
James Gunn has a lot of gunnisms, right? The gunniest thing he did in the movie is the scene where they show up at the beach and Mr. Terrific has his T-spheres and they're just going crazy around Lois, and he's got her in the bubble and the music is playing, and it's reminiscent of the fight scene in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was absolutely the best scene in the movie, and the fact that went to Mr. Terrific is fabulous, but the fact that Superman doesn't have any of those in a Superman movie is telling.
To where Yondu is taking back the rabbit and shooting with the arrow. It's like very much in that same vein. And I'm in the theater and I like literally I'm sitting next to Van and I'm like, that's James Gunn. Like that's James Gunn. Man.
Talk about Mr. Terrific?
Yeah, that fight scene. That's James Gunn.
Or even the joke about Lois calls them the T-circles.
The T-circles?
Like, they're the T-spheres.
That's 2D. Yeah, it's 3D.
Eddie was so just like magnetic and funny. And it was just like
hard character to get right too.
Yeah. Because usually in the comics, Mr. Terrific is very
stoic.
He's very stoic. He's is he the third smartest man? Third smartest man in the DC universe. Right. And he's always just kind of like, I don't want to say there's a lack of personality, but Eddie he's haughty, but he's funny and he's cutting and
You didn't tell me that wasn't Mr. Terrific. I mean, it was almost like a character playing the character playing the character playing Mr. Terrific. Come on, bro. I mean, I don't even think Mr. Terrific needs to be in another Superman movie. I think he could be in his own movie or TV show. But I'm just saying, Mr. Terrific was a character playing the character playing the character playing this guy right here. RDJ in Tropic Thunder. Gotta love it. Yo, by the way, if you find an action figure of that, holla at your boy. What was the character? Kirk Lazarus. Hilarious.
And he has a moral compass. I thought that was amazing. I thought Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was really, really funny as well. Isabella as a Hawkgirl. I thought the Justice Gang of it took away from the Superman aspects of it. But in terms of just like what this universe could be in terms of its heroes, I was like, that was fucking interesting. Metamorpho looked cool.
See, you know what? I actually expected them to be in the movie way more than I thought the story was going to be about them. By the way, I'll say it again. This movie wasn't really about anything that I thought it was going to be about.
Right.
But I remember they were saying this movie is all the superheroes and Superman becoming their leader and the Justice League and everybody.
Not really about that at all.
Raj said the Spider-Man, you see me, I see you meme with Mr. Terrific or like Kirk Lazarus. Man, is that already a meme? Let's see. I'm a dude playing a dude. Yeah, that might be the closest, bro. Where's all the artists at? We need a meme of this of them doing the Spider-Man thing. For real, for real. Yeah. Yeah. That's all we got. But I am surprised we haven't found that already. Or someone hasn't made that already.
I mean, it is.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, no,
I mean,
I think the circle of in the beginning of the movie, it very much seems like Superman is almost on an island alone, where it seems like he is the first hero to be like, I'm so powerful, I can stop a war. And it seems like the Justice Gang is like, we're corporate backed. It almost seems like superheroes in this world, metahumans have been around, but they're not. They're not the gods. Yeah. They're not the like. Mm-hmm. They're not Wonder Woman yet. You know what I'm saying? They're still a little street level. And it seemed by the end of the movie, James Gunn was saying, "Oh, Superman is going to be the one who gives them."
I wonder if like this is the face that Van has, like when he's zoning out, and then he starts thinking about like the stories that he's about to interject. It's almost like I rub my face when I'm sleepy. Like this is like his like tell of, okay, I'm zoning out. I'm starting to think of a story. Okay, now I'm about to insert said story.
The hope and the belief in themselves that we're not just protecting Metropolis, we're protecting anyone in need. Guy Gardner's not just
because they're a little, they're a little skeptical and cynical.
And that's the kind of the hard thing that this movie had to sell, because I'm like, okay, so if you're 3 years into Superman exposing himself, and
the exposing himself was the cue.
No, he forgot.
He 3 years into what?
He took the red trunks down in front of everybody.
Trunks and no trunks.
Yep.
I mean, Henry Cavill at the end of the movie. Him and Lois is getting nasty in that building, and when Perry was just
completely
how long them up
3 months.
I got a quick trunk story.
Yep, we're not gonna talk about the trunk story. All right, I'm gonna skip ahead almost to that. And also, it's getting kind of late, So I'm going to fast forward to when they talk about Batman. Again, thanks, Raj, for saving me.
Problem where it's like, I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was really overstuffed, and this movie is overstuffed. And I'm wondering if, like, do you guys think if James Gunn is like, I'm doing the second Superman movie, he might feel a little bit more emboldened to be like, all right, I've launched the universe, we could focus on Superman? Or is it always going to kind of have to be like...
I do. I think this film, because first of all, for the next one, it might be good to see like Superman on another planet or something. Like I don't know, do something really out of whack or
maybe
or
Superman up in space.
I want to see Brainiac. I think they could do.
But in this one, I thought it was an incredibly smart decision.
Thank you.
To put Superman in the middle of a world.
Yeah.
And have the world all around.
No,
him.
I agree.
Yeah.
So just so we kind of get to know the world and him as sort of like a guy, and maybe we get a more mature Superman next time, or maybe he's hardened, or he's in some sort of peril since the stakes are set up. This movie's it plays like a prequel almost. Like it's like there's
this is Spider-Man Homecoming for Superman.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I think for me, and this is the thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about the James Gunn's like cinematic universe offerings. Obviously, Guardians 1 is 1. I think Guardians 2 is the last, is 5. And then you could kind of, depending on how you feel, man, you could kind of
Superman or Guardians.
Superman, Guardians 3, Suicide Squad, you can kind of put them in any order you want, depending on how you feel about Suicide Squad.
They're all kind of the same movie, and what I mean by that is I'm like,
James Gunn.
They all like Gunn has like crystallized into what he does, which is just like there's gonna be a lot of animals, there's gonna be some cute babies, like you know when the jokes are coming, and I'm just like when it works, and then when it doesn't, honestly, I mean this as a compliment. James Gunn sometimes makes a Family Guy episode where they're throwing so many jokes at the wall where I'm like, I'm gonna laugh a couple of times.
Right.
But we didn't answer this. Now that we've seen this movie, do you want a Brave and the Bold Batman in this universe, or do you still want Robert Pattinson in this universe?
Oh, Robert Pattinson doesn't work.
Robert Pattinson doesn't work in this universe.
I feel like
you don't think there's
Gotham City Easter egg in the movie.
Yeah. Right? You saw it on
nice
the little sign.
You saw the Gotham.
sign.
So you guys think there's no way you could see Matt Reeves' Batman in this DCU?
That nigga gotta lighten up. That nigga gotta lighten up, have some fun.
But think about the dichotomy between them, though.
It'd be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious, but
so funny.
I don't know.
That dichotomy still works, even if you lighten up Batman even a little bit.
Well, yes, but I think like that particular, like Pattinson in particular, be such like a type high wire act.
I'm wrong. Actually, you guys are right.
You could do it. You'd have to like get it right, because what you don't want is Batman to come around and just sour Superman, or for Superman to come out.
Can I ask you guys this?
The only thing I would say is I could make an argument that we haven't seen a version of Pattinson's Batman that is formidable enough to be on, because Batman has to be. Pattinson's Batman is still feeling like a year 2, year 1, year 3 Batman, but Batman has to be the big swinging dick in the room, not brooding emo Batman, but he has to be like
swaggy, confident.
He's got to he's not like Lex. He's not evil like Lex. He's got to be able to stand up to Superman and be like, I'm not really
I
worried
don't
about
give
this.
a fuck you.
Yeah.
But even aesthetically, because I think what the MCU decided to do in the beginning is we are going to kind of make all of our solo movies look very, very similar. So when the Avengers come together,
it looks different.
It's not as and like part of me is like, why couldn't you do like the complete inverse of that? Where it's like when Batman is in Gotham, it looks like a fucking Batman movie. And when Superman is in Metropolis, it looks like a fucking Superman movie. But when the Justice League comes together, we make a new palette. It looks like, is that possible in movies? I don't actually, because
I don't think so.
Green flare goes
like,
from green to...
I think about the first part of Batman when he's driving around Gotham in his motorcycle. And imagine Superman landing there and like, hey man, y'all live like this, and then Pattinson going to that bright, beautiful Metropolis, and he's just sitting there in the corner, just like on the gargoyle looking crazy. You have to fudge it. I see the vision, but again, it's difficult. It's difficult.
But it'd be so funny if like Superman just like descended to the hospital room when fucking Bruce was yelling at Alfred. Like, you talk to your...
Okay. A point that I want to make. I think that at least I did think that James Gunn should have went full hardcore with a Teen Titans movie, especially like off the rip, kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing, and then kind of extrapolated the DCU from there. And I think that whatever Batman they use needs to already have a Dick Grayson in it, and not like down the line. And I'm not saying it doesn't necessarily have to have like a Damian in it already, but definitely like an older Dick Grayson that's already kind of like treading his own path. And maybe like Batman working on Jason Todd. I think you do need to have those like complete opposite tonal shifts. Absolutely. Because I definitely don't want to see a 1966 Batman in this. And I know that like James Gunn would like probably have a field day with that, but that's not what I want to see personally. If so, then bring back the Snyderverse.
Why do you treat him like that?
Why you treat your parents like this?
Yeah,
have some respect.
Yeah. You think I got parent issues.
Yeah, that man raised you.
Okay. At least you like okay. You know what I'm saying? We'll get another.
You don't want to see Zoe Kravitz next to Corn Sweat?
Man, you know what, you guys?
I think it could work.
The Batman gets better every time I watch it.
It's great.
It's
a great
We
movie.
gotta stop with the man. Better than the Dark Knight.
It's
well,
not even
if
close.
the Batman is a 7.58 movie.
I know, but it's a really
good movie.
solid
People
movie.
saying it's better than Dark Knight is crazy.
It's crazy. I'm not there.
It was harder for me to kind of. I liked it, but it was harder for me to get into in the theater. But it is a really fun watch at your crib.
Honestly, if I'm gonna be, and this could lead us into the Midnight Meter, I think the Batman and Superman are almost like identical movies in terms of just like the things that make them great and the things that hold them back, where it's just like
the Batman was overstuffed too.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. Where it's just like the thing that
shit was 3 hours.
No. It's because this movie, Superman, is 158 without credits, and it feels overstuffed. Batman is legitimately 3 hours.
Yeah,
right. It's a different type of overstuffed. That's why I'm laughing.
Time-wise,
it's like that movie's stuck, but it's like you get out of there. Batman, you in there like, all right, for sure. Yeah. I'm supposed to go home at some point, like, you know. But you're right. All
right, so we got to go to the Midnight Meter. Y'all know what it is. 1 to 12 ranking, 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, 11 and 12 reserved for game changers. We're gonna start with you, Joe.
Why start with me? I'll start with me last time. Start with Steve. He's white.
Steve, let's start with you on the Midnight Meter. Superman, where are we going?
This is the strongest 8 that I've given in a minute.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Jump.
Yeah, leaving the theater. My first thought was an 8, and then thinking about it, just.
If you're just joining us 4 hours later, or you've been here the whole time, thank you. But yeah, my rating was a B. But a strong 8 is crazy. I mean, relax.
All night and all day. I literally have not stopped thinking about the movie since I've seen it. Thinking 8 is where it's at. I think it has some high highs, and the stuff I don't like personally does not ruin the movie at all. I think the things that it does incredibly well, it sets up the DCU for success, and so I'm an 8.
I want to give it a 10 really badly. I'm not going to. I'm going to give it a 9.
Wait, what's holding it back from the 10?
everyone has a right to their own opinion, and that's fine. But this is why the 1 through 10 scale doesn't work, because I mean, if you're like, they literally just said that this movie is not on the same level as Dark Knight, and if the Dark Knight is supposed to be a 10 out of a 10, how can you say that this movie, which you just said is not equal to the Dark Knight, is a 10 out of 10? And then people are going to be like, oh, well, the Dark Knight is a 12 out of 10 or a 15 or 20 out of 10. And it's like, okay, but now it's on like a grading scale. Like, you can't, or what is that curve called? The bell curve? Like, you can't, like, if a 10 out of 10 is supposed to be the solid, the gold standard, you can't be like, oh, this is the gold standard, but it's on a bell curve. Like, this, it's out of control. And this is my thing. Like, when people say that something is a 10 out of 10, I want them to tell me compared to what? Compared to what? Like, what's your 10 out of 10 in the genre of a movie? And then I want you to tell me why this movie equals that. Because if The Dark Knight is a 10 out of 10, and Endgame is a 10 out of 10, and maybe Infinity War is like a 9.5 out of 10, you're going to tell me that this movie is a 10 out of 10 Endgame? I'm talking about like 10 years or 12 years or however many years it took for them to build up that culmination of a story, and you're going to tell me that the first introduction to these characters in the movie is equal to Endgame? If this is Endgame, then this has nowhere to go. This universe has nowhere to go if this is a 10 out of 10. And you just told me that it was stuffed for a 2-hour movie, a tight 2-hour movie, and then you're going to sit up here and say, yeah, but it's a 10 out of 10? Unreal. Unfucking real. Excuse my language. Unreal. Right. I'll even give it a C+. And like I said, mine was a B. Not a B-, not a B+. But I can't argue with somebody that said this was a C+. Like, it. I mean, wow. I don't even remember what Chuck said or if he even said anything, because that is ridiculous. And this is why I do letter grades, because everyone understands what a letter grade is, bro. When you went to school, a letter grade was a letter grade. A, B, C, D, or F, period. And not everyone even got D's. Sometimes it was just A, B, C, F. So a D is being generous. I can't believe this.
Because a 10 says perfect movie.
Hold on.
I'm supposed to go home at some point, like, you know, but you're right. All
right, so we got to go to the midnight meter. Y'all know what it is. 8
that I've given in a minute.
Okay.
I'm supposed to go home at some point, like, I'm supposed to go home at some point, like. I'm not there.
It was harder for me to kind of, I liked it, but it was harder for me to get into in the theater, but it is a really fun watch at your crib.
Honestly, if I'm going to be, and this could lead us into the midnight meter, I think the Batman and Superman are almost like identical movies in terms of just like the things that make them great and the things that hold them back. Where it's just like
the Batman was overstuffed too.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean.
I'm supposed to go home at some
8 that I've given in a minute.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Jump.
Yeah, leaving the theater. My first thought was an 8, and then thinking about it, just all night and all day. I literally have not stopped thinking about the movie since I've seen it. I think an 8 is where it's at. I think it has some high highs, and the stuff I don't like personally does not ruin the movie at all. I think the things that it does incredibly well, it sets up the DCU for success, and so I'm an 8.
I want to give it a 10 really badly. I'm not going to. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wait, what's holding it back from the 10?
Because a 10 says perfect movie, just not a game changer. And I don't think I can go there. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Hold on. Time out. He said a 10. Wait, no. He didn't say 10 is not a game. Hold on, bro.
Eight that I've given.
See, and these colors does nothing for me. Oh wait, so see, this is what I'm saying. Why are you doing 12s? Why are you going? This is why there needs to be a standard. Why are you going past the 12? So the whole fucking 8 through 10 is convoluted. So basically, you got A plus, B plus, C plus, D minus, like. Because when you say a 10 out of 10, and did this nigga say 10 out of 10? Because when you say 10 out of 10, it's 10 out of 10.
In a minute.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Jump.
Yeah, leaving the theater. My first thought was an 8, and then thinking about it, just all night and all day. I literally have not stopped thinking about the movie since I've seen it. I think an 8 is where it's at. I think
because an 8 out of 12 is a C. So a 10 out of 12 is a fucking B. Because these colors do nothing for me. Because 8 through fucking 12 is white. So what does that even mean?
it has some high highs, and the stuff I don't like personally does not ruin the movie at all. I think the things that it does incredibly well, it sets up the DCU for success, and so I'm an 8.
I want to give it a 10 really badly. I'm not going to. I'm going to give it a 9.
Wait, what's holding it back from the 10?
Because a 10 says perfect movie, just not a game changer.
So a 10 is a perfect movie, not a game changer. A 9 is a perfect movie, not a game changer. So then a 10 is a perfect movie, not a game changer, but 11 through 12 is a game changer. Shit is fucking convoluted, bro.
And I don't think I can go there. I'm going to give it a 9. But I want you guys to watch out for mulligans on this one.
And what the fuck is a mulligan?
All right.
So this isn't
like golf term mulligan?
My score?
Do you think this goes up?
Watch out for mulligans.
For you? For me.
For you.
Oh, not down.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not going down.
You don't think it's going down?
No. It's not going down. No.
And this is off the first watch. Like, this is not off a rewatch. And like I said, I'm like too far into this shit to be like, no, it's not.
This is gonna be your what do you call it? Matrix Resurrections. You come back in December. You come back in December like, guys, it's a 12.
Stand by it.
Movie's
Stand
perfect.
by it.
I don't care what any of y'all say.
I wanted to give the movie a 10, but if I gave it a 10, it would be on the fact that the movie gave me the Superman feels.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And we haven't rewatched it. We literally saw it last night.
Yeah.
To me, like, this is going to be the most Mulligans movie ever. Because my score, I came in here like being like, this is the most 7 movie, like not 7 in the back, like 7 solid movie. Like I think I gave Jurassic Park, like Jurassic World Rebirth a 7.
Which, by the way, fuck y'all. We told y'all.
This is better than Jurassic Park.
Hey, we had fun.
Like, by the way, we just like fuck y'all. We like that shit.
I like that movie.
I didn't know we were allergic to fun out here.
Guess what? A lot of other people are liking that motherfucker too.
You know that's right.
We like that shit.
Come
anyway.
on.
So, but here's the problem. Talking to y'all, came in at a 7, but I had so much fun talking about the movie and reminiscing. Kind of want to give it an 8.
Ooh.
And I think, you know what? If I'm going to be positive about this, because we have Mulligans, I'm going to give it an 8 for now. I need to rewatch it just because I'm just like, hey, yo,
Chuck
like
Wagon.
We really got to
The
fine
age
tune
of-
when it
the
comes
age
to
of
mode.
Chuck Wagon.
Come
on now.
It's
Positive
here's-
Chuck.
I nitpicked at this and that, but in terms of
what
I
we
will
do.
always people are always like, oh, why are you so down on Super? Is that I'm like, hey, yo, this movie can be corny. James Gunn some of his humor can annoy me, but I'm always going to support people where I'm like, all right, you had a vision and you committed to it. Yeah. If I felt like I was in safe hands, if I felt like, oh, I had a fun time at the movies, like that to me wins out overall. And I think James Gunn has always, I've been up and down on certain movies he's made, but he's always been able to land the plane and make me be like, all right, I'm glad I spent my time watching this.
Yeah, well said.
That's great.
It's worth watching, but like, don't put this higher than it needs to be. Raj said, I felt like Chuck let them plucky him into an 8 when he wanted to be a 7. I mean, just say 7.5. Why does it have to be a whole like number higher? Its high highs don't give me an 8, but its low lows give me a 7. Yes. 8 to 10 is a weird place in the midnight meter, but I kind of get it. An 8 to 10 is, I mean, we're talking about fucking Superman running a football field or, Hulk jumping over buildings 2 miles away. Like, completely different mile markers.
Great, dude. We didn't talk about this, but like one of the funniest parts in our theater, at least, was the Peacemaker cameo.
He's more popular than he might.
He showed up.
Peacemaker Hey, people must like Peacemaker a little bit more than we think that they do. I was very surprised. I didn't think anyone would give a shit, but people were happy to see fucking Peacemaker.
I will say it was funny.
I like Peacemaker.
I do not like that shit. I do not like Peacemaker.
I didn't know John Cena had that in his bag,
but you know who didn't really have the juice, which made me a little worried? Supergirl really didn't get
nobody cared.
Nobody, she came over from around the corner and it was crickets. I was like,
nobody.
A lot of game left, fellas.
A lot of game left. I did like, her little. She had a little thing to her. I'm interested in Supergirl.
And if we're going around like the Jor-El change, I do think it's interesting. If having read that comic, maybe this is a Supergirl who's a little bit like, fuck these humans. I'm off planet. I'm off world. I'm getting drunk.
See, that could be fun.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's the more like, no, I was a teenager on Krypton. Like, we better than these people. I need me a harem. Like, I think that could actually be like cool because like that would make sense why she wouldn't train Krypto. She's like, why am I training my dog to try to protect these people? Like,
they said harem a lot in this movie. That's like.
All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that. The last thing I'm gonna say is, if Supergirl and Superman are cousins, and they're the last two surviving Kryptons, and they're both on Earth. Y'all didn't even hear what I said. What I was saying is, not a Peacemaker fan at all. The actor annoys me to no end. Supergirl is a suspect, but the character could be better than the intro. I doubt it, because I feel like that's his bread and butter. All right, so they're going to talk about the harem and all of that, and I need to go to bed. So I'm going to leave it on this, and, maybe somebody can go into the comments and deep dive into this. But a question. If Superman and Supergirl are cousins, and they are the last two Kryptonians living, aside from Zod, who was probably dead somewhere, and his female acquaintance who probably died with him. Why doesn't him and his cousin just procreate and make more Kryptonians? Now I know that's crazy. I get it. And why have a baby with your cousin when you can, have babies with like humans and stuff? And I get that. But I mean, again, I don't know how close of cousins are they genetically. Like, are they cousins because they're cousins? Are like first cousin, second cousin, third cousins? And I'm not talking about no Kansas, Mid-South, Alabama stuff. I'm just saying for like the sake of like the lineage of Krypton. And it's crazy that like Jarrell didn't say anything about his cousin being with like coming behind him either. Pause. But why don't they just make babies? Why not? Because he's in love with Lois. I mean, like, you literally need to save your race, and you know that they can survive on Earth. Like, I think, and you're gonna outlive like your whole family. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, just have like a separate like lineage of Kryptonians. I don't know. Maybe it's me. All right, people. I love you. Thank you. 4 minutes, 4 hours, and 10 minutes. Well, I owed y'all. I owed y'all one. It's been a few days, so take this, and next time I talk to you, it would probably be talking about Fantastic Four. I already started watching the old one, so hopefully I'll get my mind right and have a good review. I don't have any premiere tickets, so I don't know how early I'm gonna be able to watch the movie, but hopefully I'll get back to y'all sooner than later. I'll start chopping this up and giving y'all some clips. I hope y'all enjoyed. Hope y'all have fun. Shout out to the Midnight Boys on The Ringer. Chuck, Steve, Jomi, and Van. Always a pleasure. Fellas, you got to get me on the pod one day. Other than that, y'all enjoy your week. I love y'all. Get some sleep if you can, Midsomniacs. And I'll holla at y'all. Raj said cousins is cousins. Come on, man. I was with you, Harem, but the cousin smashing, you're on your own. Yeah, but they're a whole different race of... I'm just saying they need to save their own people, but whatever. Why not? You never know. I mean, hell, if all the Viltrumites could be cousins and old girl still trying to get Mark to have his baby, so